Chapter 3642. Second more. By the way, in time and space, hasn't the Celestial Alliance leader been guarding around the heavy seal all the time? That should be in the fourth heavy heaven. Why didn't you see him? Jian Wushuang asked. Don't worry, I have summoned him to come over. The master of space and time smiled. As soon as the words fell, Jian Wushuang saw the end of the barren void in front of him, and a figure appeared. This figure stepped out step by step. The speed was incredible, and it appeared in front of Jian Wushuang in a blink of an eye. The comer was a burly man of 2 meters in height. He wore scarlet battle armor, dark skin, and narrow eyes. A pair of gem-like pupils swept straight away, and his eyes swept away enough to make the world and the world eclipse. And above all, you are the domineering man in this burly man. This domineering, incomparable, as if the entire sky was trampled under his feet. Come, it is the Lord of the Heavens. At the beginning, Jian Wushuang used bamboo leaves to summon the conscious avatar of the Lord of the Sky, and that conscious avatar, apart from its powerful strength, has the deepest influence on him. That is, the domineering body. That domineering is really convincing. The domineering consciousness is so arrogant, and now seeing the deity of the Lord of the Sky, the natural domineering swept away. Even the current sword Wushuang couldn't help secretly. He is very clear that being able to possess such powerful domineering is related to his own overwhelming strength in addition to the secrets of cultivation. The Lord of the Sky, but the most powerful of the Star Palace, has reached a higher level of a long time ago. As of now, the strength is definitely stronger. Ha! Jian Tianho, you are finally here. The domineering laughter of the Lord of the Heavens resounded between heaven and earth, his eyes burning, and he looked at Jian Wushuang. I've seen the Lord of the Heavens. Jian Wushuang was slightly saluting. Haha, you're welcome. Xianxin has already circulated to me before, saying that your current strength is already barely equal to that of the higher master. This strength is not much weaker than me. It is just that I stay in this ghost place. It's too boring. Now that you are here, come and fight with me. The voice of the Lord of the Heavens is strong, and at the same time the voice falls, a majestic divine power has risen. Jian Wushuang stunned. At this time, the Lord of Space and Time smiled, and said, Cut the sky. Xiaoho Xiaoyu came here to seal the 7-star realm, not specifically to fight against you. Let alone this 4th-day sky is still there. In the beginning of the divine realm, you were equally oppressed by the will of the heavens here. I am afraid that the strength you can exert is not much better than mine. However, because Xiaoho Yuyu is only the ruler of the rule, the strength is not subject to any restrictions. You're playing against him here. Isn't that just asking for trouble? Yeah. The leader of the Celestial Alliance nodded again and again. I almost gave it to him. He is the same as Xian Yi. He is the perfect life. The ruler can have the dominance and has strength in the astral realm. There will be no restrictions. It is really too bad for me to play against him here. Jian Tianho, when you get to the battlefield of the universe, you and I will fight again. Sure. Jian Wushuang nodded with a smile. After a brief conversation, he can see that although the leader of the Skycut Alliance is extremely powerful and domineering, he is very carefree and eclectic. Such a person, regardless of his identity, is the sword, very happy to make friends. Okay, cut sky, take us to the place where the reseal is located. The Space-Time Hall main road. Well, follow me. The Lord of the Sky Slayer immediately led the way, and the Lord of the Sword and Space Palace immediately followed. The three were rushing through, traversing an extremely long distance, but still spent more than half of their time in space before they reached the core area of this fourth heavy sky. And here is a huge and imposing circular matrix that covers a long and distant territory. Is this where the heavy seal is? Jian Wushuang looked at the heavy circle in front of him with a shock. That law formation is really too big. Even if it is based on his strength, it cannot detect the marginal existence of this law formation. At the same time, Jian Wushuang can sense that this heavy law formation is running at an extremely slow speed, and during the operation, this law formation is still swallowing and squeezing the vitality of this fourth heaven. Almost all of the vitality of this fourth day has been completely swallowed up and squeezed out, but this magic array is still swallowed up. Jian Wushuang frowned. No way. After all, this magic circle can only be maintained if it is always in operation. As for the energy required to operate the magic circle, it is the reason why the sky has been here for so long. Tao. Although the vitality of this fourth day is running out, and it is difficult to supply the magic circle for operation, there are still some remaining. Zhang Tian has to do here to keep an eye on the vitality of this fourth heaven, and not to let the vitality of this fourth heaven be completely cut off. After all, the vitality of this fourth heaven is completely cut off. Chongtian will crash directly, but as long as it has the slightest vitality, as long as it does not crash, it will have a certain recovery ability. And Zhiqian will replace the fourth heavy sky at that time to supply a lot of energy to the heavy law formation. And all of this energy depends on geniuses and treasures. In these years, only for the supply, the operation of this law formation has paid innumerable costs for the Xingong Palace, the Celestial Alliance, the Lord of Time and Space, and the Heavenly Ancestral Dojo. Jian Wushuang secretly marveled. He also knew how much energy it would take to maintain such a large one-size circle. Obviously, it would not be possible to sustain the fourth day vitality alone. And the reason that the circle could always exist up to now, it is natural that they have contributed a lot. Before, there was no way. This magic circle had to be running all the time. Once stopped, the reseal would always exist, and it would never be broken. The 7-star divine realm in the seal, and the countless strong men left by the original 7-star Xuanzong. I will never have a chance to see the sun again, but now that you are here, all this will be easy to do. The Lord of the Cut Heavens chuckled. Xuani said at the time of the reseal, as long as you reach the main level of the rule, you can open the reseal and let the 7-star god realm see the sun again. Now, you try it. Chapter 3643. One more today. Jian Wushuang did not delay any more, and swept directly towards the heavy law formation. How to crack this resealed law formation? Looking at the huge and imposing seal array in front of him, Jian Wushuang felt a headache, although his master left a word. As long as he breaks through to reach the ruler, he can crack the seal array, but he did not know the process and steps of cracking. We don't know the specific cracking process. You can try to communicate with this reseal group first. Jian Wushuang nodded his head. Even when his eyes were closed, his consciousness had covered the past with the huge seal formation facing forward. The consciousness was covered by this seal formation, and Jian Wushuang immediately connected with the heavy seal formation. And at the same time, the lingering soul that had been silent in the seal gradually woke up. "Little guy, you're finally here." A soft voice sounded. Hearing this voice, Jian's stature was shocked. He was too familiar with this voice. Master, is it you?" Jian Wushuang's voice was a little trembling. "It's me." A gentle voice sounded again, while a hazy figure slowly condensed in the seal formation. He has a tall figure, a gentle face, and a very close feeling. The slight smile on his face makes him feel warmer. Familiar face, familiar smile, and familiar feeling. It is clear that the figure who appeared in the seal formation at this moment is his master, Xuani. It's just that his master has fallen, and now he is here. It is just a ray of remnant left in the reseal circle. This ray of remnant is still very weak, and he has been sleeping for many years. It is also the scent of the sword, unparalleled, that this remnant soul will be awakened, and the awakened remnant can only be sensed by Jian Wushuang at this moment. As for the next few lords who cut the sky, he can't sense his existence. Little fellow, how many years have you been born again? Xuani asked. His remnant has been asleep, but he hasn't known how long he has been asleep. Back to Master, it has been 100,000 years. Jian Wushuang replied respectfully, 100,000 years. It's going to be a bit late than expected, but it's okay. You can break through and become the ruler. And before you come to the fourth seal of heaven, this reseal of the magic circle, you will take this remnant of my soul awakening. This shows that my original plan should be carried out relatively smoothly. Xian, eat together. Yes, although I encountered some trouble halfway through, the disciples were hunted down by the three sacred realms more than once, and they survived, but fortunately, no luck, and finally took the risk. Jian Wushuangdo said, if you can come here, then it means that you have shown that you have been in direct contact with Xian Shen, right? Xiani continued to ask, not only are my predecessors, but also the Lord of the Sky, the Master of Space and Time, and the Ancestor of Heaven, I have already contacted them. And thanks to the help of these four predecessors over the years, I can go to today. Sword Wushuangdo, your mission, as well as the ultimate secrets of the realm, have they told you? Xiani said, yes. Jian Wushuang nodded. That being the case, then you should also know what you should do. Xiani smiled, and then said, the last question, what is your strength now? Master, it's not long before I broke through the rules, but because of the disciples' chances these years, I can barely match the higher masters. And with the help of mysterious seniors, I got one of the strongest treasure soldiers. Now, I will definitely not be lower than the high master. If it is really hard, even if you encounter some extremely terrible existence of the high master, there is no fear at all, and only some of the difference is estimated to be the performance of the sky-cut technique, with some restrictions. Jian Wushuangdo. Before, Jian Wushuang's strength was more or less concealed. Even if the three gods, the Master of Space and Time, and the Ancestor of the Sky asked them, Jian Wushuang is only able to rival the Master, but the specific level of combat power is not too clear. However, now he is facing the most respected and most grateful Master Xuani in his life, but he has no concealment and can reveal all his whole cards and strength. This is his absolute trust and conviction in his master. Yes, you can match the higher masters just after you break through. This is a robber than when you were a teacher. Xiani laughed. As for the skyscraping, this mystery is very strange. I was able to create it at the same time. The chance plus luck is indeed good enough, but this secret technique is really big enough to consume the divine power. Fortunately, our perfect life is full of divine power. If we change to another person, even if we are the master, I am afraid that it will not be able to perform a few times. Such a secret technique. This mystery is suitable for your current use. It will improve your strength. As for whether you want to perform this mystery in the future, it depends on you. Jian Wushuang nodded slightly. Well, after asking you so many questions, in fact, as a teacher, I just want to know your situation over the years. Now it looks good. Xian Yi smiled and continued, you are here to reseal the law formation now. Come up, do you want to crack this seal? Yes, master, but I don't know how I can break this seal array. Jian Wushuang asked. Cracking the magic array? Xiani looked but followed with a smile. It is not difficult for you to crack this magic array, but it is not easy to say. Huh. Jian Wushuang appeared in doubt. Boy, let me tell you the truth. The reason why this resealed law circle has always existed is not only to completely protect the sleeping strong man in the Seven Stars God realm, but to give Qi Xing Xuanzong a chance to rise again. Important purpose. Xian Yi together. Hearing this, Jian Wushuang was even more puzzled. Little guy, mysterious god. They should have told you that as a teacher who broke through the rules of the rule, he immediately tried to seize the power of the will of the early gods. But unfortunately I tried countless times, but I still failed. End. Xian Yi together. My predecessor told me about this. He said that you had tried millions of times and all failed, and finally came to the conclusion that if you want to regain the power of the will of the early gods, you must have perfect life. The breakthrough reached the level of domination. Sword Wushuangdo. It's so, but it's not just that. Xian Yi's expression became dignified. Sorry again. Hope everyone can understand. End of this chapter. Chapter 3644. The first is more. When I broke through and became the ruler of the rule, I went directly to try to regain the primordial realm. As a result, after millions of attempts, although I failed, I felt that I had the opportunity to bring the primordial realm back. It was only because I was not strong enough to retake the house. So at the time I thought that as long as I broke through and reached the domination, I would be able to retake this pre-God world as a matter of course, but soon after, as my strength improved and my horizons became higher and higher, I understood that if you want to regain the house of the early gods, I'm afraid it's not just that I want to break through and become the master. Xian Yitong, don't you just break through the master? Jian Wushuang frowned. If you want to break through the alone, this condition is already extremely harsh and difficult, and now the sword has no distance to dominate the power. He didn't want to, and the conditions needed to regain the princely kingdom of God were not just that. Just breaking through the dominator. Although my strength will be greatly improved, the most important thing is that the soul will also follow suit. It will be of great help when taking over the world. But now the world is not the stage of weakness has already evolved into a long-term period. And before the beginning of the divine realm was taken away once, now the power of the heavenly will of the first realm of the divine realm is dominated by the demon Star Master. The heavenly will dominated by the Lord of the Clouds is completely different from the heavenly will of the normal astral world. The heavenly will of the normal astral world has no emotions and no thoughts. It only knows that it operates in accordance with the laws of the universe. Even if it is suddenly lost, its resistance is also limited. But the Lord of the Clouds is a human practitioner, and he is an extremely terrifying, dominating power. If he is defeated, he will definitely fight desperately. If at the last moment, he is more likely to make some crazy behaviors, such as direct self-destruction, completely destroyed the heavenly will of the early gods. And then without the restraint of the will of the heavenly gods, the early gods would also collapse without the rule of law. Or he directly controlled Tiandao, will to destroy the early world. These are the consequences that we cannot accept. Hearing here, Jian Wushuang's look also became extremely dignified. Indeed, Jane, Lord of the Demon Cloud, is not a practitioner in the early divine realm at all. He won away from the early divine realm only for his own cultivation and to help himself improve his strength. As for the early divine realm, he did not care. Under normal circumstances, he will certainly not destroy the will of the heavenly will or control the will of the heavens to destroy the early divine realm. At most, it will only forcibly accelerate the evolution of the early divine realm so that he will get greater benefits in a short time. But if it is abnormal, that is, Jian Wushuang can already pose a huge threat to it, and he can regain the Prince of the Gods. When he can't stop it, he really say, will he make some crazy move. After all, once he can't stop Jian Wushuang and let Jian Wushuang retake the Taiji Divine Realm, then this Taiji Divine Realm has nothing to do with him at all. Since he can't get it himself, he is likely to make it impossible for others. Because of this, I will have some concerns. I am afraid that even if you break through and reach the dominance, you will not be able to successfully recapture the original divine realm. Therefore, I deliberately left this resealed law circle to completely complete the seven-star god realm. The seal is inside. Xianyi said, Master, is there anything strange about this resealed law formation? Jian Wushuang asked, in confusion. Of course there is. Xianyi smiled. This reseal method was originally a great opportunity that I got at first. Its role is very strange. Not only does it completely seal the seven-star god realm inside, the most important thing is the seal method. In the course of long years of operation, it will gradually evolve. Yan, Jian Wushuang stunned. From the original seal formation, gradually evolved into a complete world, and will even gradually give birth to the willpower that can dominate this world. Xuanyi mysteriously said. What? Jian Wushuang was startled. Complete heaven and earth. Can you even give birth to the willpower that dominates this heaven and earth? Isn't it the same as the normal astral world? Yes, when this seal array runs to the end, it is equivalent to forming a small astral world. Xianyi smiled. This small astral world will also have an autonomous operating principle that will dominate the will of this world. It is also equivalent to the power of the heavenly will in the beginning of the world. To put it plainly, it is an astral world, but it is much smaller than a normal third-level astral space. But the basic operating rules include the heavenly will and power. Yes, but still, of course, in many respects, this small astral space is inferior to the astral space naturally bred by the cosmic circle. For example, in the growth space, the normal third-level astral space, countless practitioners can conceive countless undead saints. A lot of rules. The masters, including a few powerful men who dominate the ranks, but the small astral circle formed by the evolution of the seal circle cannot even give birth to undead saints. You should have a deep understanding of this. Wu Jianzhou nodded slightly. He came out of the sealed formation, and it is very clear what the limits of the practitioner's growth world are. In that seal formation, aside from those who were left from the seven-star divine realm and the seven-star Emperor Xuanzong, the strongest among the strong natural born in the heaven and earth seems to be the level of chaos only. And in the normal astral world, chaos, there is no difference with the ants. Although there is little room for growth in this small astral world, don't expect any strong people to be born inside. But one thing is that it has a normal heavenly cycle, which is not much different from the normal heavenly circle of heaven. If you can master this small astral realm and fully understand the laws of the heavens, then it will be of great help to you regaining the early divine realm. Xuanyi said, Jian Wushuang knows inside. If according to his master, this small astral world will not be much different from the rule of the heavens in the early days, then if he masters the small astral world, he will fully understand the operation of the heavens in the early days. In the process of the law, he will regain his house in the future, and the process of regaining his house will certainly be much easier. I said before that the heavenly will of the gods in the early days is now dominated by the Lord of the Clouds. He knows how to resist, he is desperate, and may even make crazy moves. But if you have broken through the master, and he fully understands the principles of the operation of the heavenly path, then you can easily regain the Prince of the Gods in the early stage without giving him any chance to fight back. Chapter 3645. Second more. So it is. Jian Wushuang nodded secretly. Mastering this small astral world will not only make it easier for you to regain the primordial world in the future. In addition, this small astral world, after all, has a complete law of the heavenly cycle. As long as you master it, it will be important for your cultivation. It will also be of great benefit. At least it will definitely help you to break through the master. Xianyi Dao said, Wu Jian's heart moved. Yes, the Lord of the Devil Clouds was originally just an ordinary master, and it was not even the kind that could be confused on the Devil Star, but it was because of his coincidence that he lost the pre-God world, and his strength would be huge. Ascension, he became the overlord of Demon Star. It can be said that after the Demon King conquered the divine realm in the beginning, the benefits he received were too great, and the small astral circle evolved by the seal method. The benefits that can be obtained after mastering it, although it is far from being able to compare with a normal astral circle, but there are many benefits, and Jian Wushuang is only a rule now. The master is extremely far away from the master. If he masters such a small astral world at this time, he will definitely get a lot of benefits. However, master, how can I master this small astral world? Jian Wushuang asked. The only way you want to master this small astral world is to thoroughly refine it. Xuani said. Refining? Jian Wushuang stunned for a while. Can you refine this small astral world like refining? But how can this be done? Wu Jian Wushuang also has self-knowledge. Although this is just a small astral space in front of it, it is once a 7-star realm. The territory is also extremely vast. In addition, a complete heavenly cycle has been formed. How can such a small astral world be refined? Changed? Rest assured, although this small astral world is extremely difficult to refine, after all, it was created for me. When I recreated it, I have already left some means. As long as it is the perfect life at the main level of the rule, it can be refined. Of course, the process of refining is certainly not easy. Xianyi smiled. Master, what should I do? Jian Wushuang respectfully said. You can leave here now to find a secret world where there is no master. First, try to refine that secret world. Xianyi said. The secret world of heaven and earth? Jian Wushuang stunned. Every ruler will open up his own secret world, but there are 2 ways to open up. One is to spend a lot of time and energy on the basis of the circle of heaven and earth, plus a lot of treasures, to open up for the complete world. This way belongs to the real creation of a secret world by its own strength. This secret world is the most complete and the greatest help to the ruler's strength. Under normal circumstances, after a ruler has opened up a complete secret world by his own means, the ruler will have an extra willpower. The second way to open up can be said to be a shortcut. You don't need to spend too much time and energy, just go directly to a world that has no owner or is broken, and no one wants it. The mystery is refining and becoming its own. But the heaven and earth mystery refined in this way, because it was not created from the beginning, so even if it is finally refined, it will also have a willpower, but the ruler cannot really this willpower is fully exerted, and most of the time, only the effect of this willpower can be achieved. Because of this, in the early days of the divine realm, only a few rulers who were troublesome or had no ambitions would directly find a helpless heaven and earth mystery to refine. Most rulers would still choose test your own ability to really open up a secret world, but for you, there is no need to spend so much time and energy to open up a secret world. Xianigong said this. Why? Jian Wushuang asked. Isn't he saying that only if he really set out to open up the secret world of heaven and earth can he exert his strongest willpower? It's very simple. First of all, you have to open up the secret world by yourself. It's really too much time and energy, and you are the only hope of the gods in the beginning. So you have to fight for a few minutes and increase your strength as quickly as possible. It takes so long and energy like this to just have a little more willpower. It's not necessary at all. In addition, the most important thing is that there is this small astral space prepared for you by the division. Where do you need to open up the secret world of yourself? Even if you really open up, will the power of will that you get will be better than this? Does the small astral circle give you the power of will. Zhang smiled. Master, do you mean to ask me to refine this small astral world into my own secret world? Jian Wushuang widened his eyes. Yes, the secret world of heaven and earth is originally a heaven and earth, and this small astral world is also a heaven and earth. Refine this small astral world into your secret world. Why not? Xianyi laughed. But this is too exaggerated. Jian Wushuang said in surprise. I exaggerate. In his opinion, this is indeed too exaggerated. Before Xianyi said that he wanted to refine the small astral world in front of him, he felt a little incredible. The true meaning of Xianyi turned out to be that he wanted to refine this small astral world as a secret world into the heaven and earth. Secret territory belongs to one's own heaven and earth. The of this heaven and earth secret territory can determine how much willpower and power can be improved. And if there is such a huge, small astral realm, if he really refines it into his own secret world, how much will he get? How strong can he improve? Thinking about it, they all felt incredible. And such an incredible thing can really be achieved. Little guy, I have specially arranged this reseal matrix to make it become a small astral world, just to make you refining into the secret world of heaven and earth. This is also the last surprise for the teacher. As for this refining process, there is no doubt that you just follow the instructions of the teacher and ensure that you can refine this small astral world into your secret world. Xianyi smiled. Wu Jianshou took a deep breath and suppressed his inner excitement, even respectfully saluting. Please also teach me the master. I have taught you again as a teacher. You first find a world without a master to refine it. After refining and accumulating experience, you will directly destroy this world. Tomorrow, there will be 3 changes to make up the chapter owed yesterday. Chapter 3646. The first is more. Under normal circumstances, the secret world of heaven and earth is destroyed, and the empowered willpower will also completely collapse. This is bound to be an unprecedented hit for the ruler of the general rules, but for you as a perfect life, it is nothing but it's innocuous, but you've gained the experience of refining the secret world, and then you come here again, refining this small astral world, and doing more with less. Xuanyi said, I see. In this case, I will first refine a heaven and earth, and then come here. Jian Wushuangdo. Go. Xianyi waved his hand. Wu Jianshou gave a respectful gift, and his consciousness returned to the body. Beyond the huge seal formation, Jian Wushuang's eyes reopened. Heavenly friend, how about? Can you crack this seal? The Lord of Time and Space looked at it quickly. Yes, but some steps are needed. Jian Wushuang recounted in detail the Xianyi's remnant soul that he saw in the seal's circle and the conversation between the two. After listening to it, the Lord of the Celestial Alliance and the Lord of Space and Time both showed shock. No wonder that before Xian died, we were told in 1,000 ways that we must find a way to maintain the operation of this resealed law formation. It turned out to be this way. The purpose of this resealed law formation is not only to protect the strong left by the 7-star Xuanzong at the same time, it is also to enable you to better sacrifice the early world of God. The Lord of Time and Space sighed secretly. Jian Tianhou, are you looking for a masterless heaven and earth to refine? Yes. Jian Wushuang nodded. It's easy. Although the secret realm of the heaven and earth is difficult to find under normal circumstances. But if you need it, we can easily find a master who opened the rules of the realm of heaven and earth, kill him, and then forcibly it. His heaven and earth is the secret. No need. Jian Wushuang waved his hand. I just know where there is a masterless, suitable for my refining heaven and earth, and I have promised that the master of that secret world will do something for him, although I have already done all these things, but I have never returned to give him a reply. This time I just go there." Wu Jian Wushuang said, "Naturally is the Blood North mystery. At the time, he had a good chance in the Blood North secret, and he did promise that Blood North would go to the blood ancestor of Tianzu Daojin to complete some things, and he had already done it, after explaining that if he wants to reach the ruler of the rule, he can go back there and refine the Blood North mystery. Jian Wushuang has now become the master of the rules, and the power is comparable to the master. At this level, the Blood North secret has not attracted him for a long time, but now that he needs to refine a heaven and earth secret to accumulate experience, the Blood North secret naturally became his first choice. I happen to be. He can go back and give Shui Bei a reply. Blood North mystery, in the endless territory. Since I want to go to the endless territory, I simply go to Mia Heaven first and connect my father and mother together," Jian Wushuang secretly said. His parents, Zhui Yunfeng and Luo Xinqin, originally came from the endless territory. Before, they were forced to come to Mietian for their own sake. It has been more than 100,000 years so far. Zhui Yunfeng and Luo Xianqin certainly wanted to go back to the endless territory, and their hometown went to see it. Heavenly friend, now that you have a world that can be refined, let's go. With your current strength, you can do whatever you want in this world of gods in the early days, and I don't need to tell you anything more. The Lord of Space and Time laughed. Wu Jianzhou nodded slightly, and soon he left the fourth heaven, and then headed for the third heaven. In the early days of the divine realm, every move of Jian Wushuang was followed by Tiandao will. When Jian Wushuang reached the third heaven, Tiandao will immediately inform the three sacred places. The three lords of the holy realm are suddenly close to the enemy. Three lords, that sword Tianhou has now come to the third heaven. He is likely to come directly to our three sacred realms. The three lords of the sanctuary stood there respectfully. All three were a look of anxiety. What are you three worried about? The three masters sitting high above. The tall man's cold eyes overlooked. The sword is heavenly. Even if the strength is not limited in the early world of God, it is just one person, and the combat power is at best, it is comparable to the ordinary primary master. With such a combat power, even if the strength of the three of us is greatly limited, as long as they join forces, they can still suppress him. That's right. If the sword is alone, there is no need to worry. If he comes here, I will join forces with him. He will definitely not take any advantage. If he has a little idea, let the old man find the opportunity and use it directly. That soldier might even kill him. The old man, Yen Tonghafa, smiled. Go on, keep staring at the sword Tian House move. There is no need to make a fuss. At last, the evil young man waved his hand. Hearing this, although the three lords of the Holy Realm still had some concerns in their hearts, they could only leave honestly. The masters of these three sacred realms are worried that Jian Wushuang's purpose of going to Mietian this time is to start with their three sacred realms. However, they do not know that Jian Wushuang is not working against the three sacred realms' intended shot. After he came to Mietian, he went straight to the demon domain, one of the 8 cities called Pure Land, Piawo City. When Jian Wushuang first came to Demon Realm, his parents and his elder brother lived in this city. However, this time he came to Piawo City again, but found no trace of his parents. Isn't it in the Piawo City? Jian Wushuang was not surprised. He had previously heard that the Lord of Space and Time said that the changes in the divine realm in the beginning of the year. One of the biggest changes is the wind and clouds in the demon realm. Now, the 8 major cities in the demon realm are still pure land on the bright side, but secretly they are already the 9-tailed tribe and the other 3 peaks. The nine-tailed tribe now fights with those three peaks. It is obviously not safe to let your parents stay in the city of Piahuo again. So it is not surprising that his parents, his elder sister, and second brother should now be within the Jiuwei tribe and protected by the Jiuwei tribe. Go to the nine-tailed clan. Wu Jianzhou rushed away towards the nine-tailed clan immediately. Chapter 3647. There will be 3 changes today. The second will arrive, and 1 more later. The nine-tailed clan was once only one of the 4 major protoss, and it was not considered to be very powerful among the 4 major protoss, but now the nine-tailed clan is already the first group recognized by the demon realm, and its strength is already far ahead of it, on top of any peak group. Even if the other 3 peak groups are united, they can only barely compete with the current nine-tailed group. The immense tribal land is covered by a huge giant circle. This heavy law formation is the nine-tailed guardian law formation and the 5 elements law formation. Although this heavy array was broken by the broken feathers in the original battle, it was only temporarily broken. After the war, the nine-tailed family can resume the large-scale array, and the nine-tailed group can be restarted. Under the rule of Miss Shower, a family is getting stronger and stronger, and more treasure resources are used in this law formation, making this law formation stronger than before. Now, this law formation is already a copper wall and iron wall. Even if the Lord of the Holy Land comes in person, I am afraid that this law formation cannot be shaken. However, before the current sword has no double-sided sword, it cannot meet any threat. I saw Jian was twin-shape flickering, and he had reached the edge of the light film of the heavy law array. He raised his finger at random, slightly pointed at the light film in front of him, and a faint divine power permeated it. In the instant light film, there was a channel enough for people to enter and exit normally, but the entire matrix itself had no slight changes or movements. Until Jian Wushuang entered the Jiuwei family along the passage, there was no movement, and the strong ones of the Jiuwei family did not even notice it. After entering the ancestral land of the nine-tailed family, Jian Wushuang spread the power of his soul directly, and the entire nine-tailed family was exposed in front of him. Sure enough, my father and mother are indeed in the nine-tailed clan. Jian Wushuang smiled slightly. He had sensed the breath of his parents. They are now in a manor in the north of the ancestral land of the Jiuwei tribe. The manor is not only guarded by many guards, but also completely protected by the human formation. See out, the little shower did a good job of protecting her parents. In the past 100,000 years, these nine-tailed clans are indeed much stronger than they were at first. The number of rulers in this tribe alone has exceeded 100, even the rulers who have reached the 6 realms of the void. There are also as many as 7, 2 of whom have reached the peak of 6 realms, and 1 has reached the extreme of 6 realms. Qi Jian Wushuang felt the arrogance of the nine-tailed family, but was quite surprised inside. He knew that Miss Shower had mastered the 9-life enchantment, and the charm method was terrible. He could directly control people without any action. In this way, he could easily control a large number of strong people and control some 6 realms. The strong are also normal. Jian Wushuang can understand even if she controls the 2 powers of the peak of 6 realms. Wu Kejian Wushuang did not expect that there is even a 6-state extreme in this 9-tailed family. The 6 realms are extreme. Although it is nothing to the sword Jianshuang, now, it is definitely the highest existence in the early world of God, second only to those who are the masters and the 3 sacred realms. And he remembered 100,000 years ago, he asked the old bone god, and learned that the 6 realms of the world at the beginning of the time were the most. In addition to the old bone himself and the newly developed Shenhua, Lord, the whole early in the world, there is only one other 6 realms. Hesitation is not possible. The other six-strength extreme is the one who stays in front of the nine-tails. No wonder the nine-tailed family can become the first group recognized in the demon realm. And even the other three peak groups can barely compete. The original nine-tailed family has already reached such a level of strength. Jian Wushuang smiled lightly, but he didn't bother about it. But just then, okay. When Jian Jianshuang looked, his brows frowned slightly. He still stood in the void above the nine-tailed clan. Hiding his figure, no one could find his existence at all, and his gaze was at the manor where his parents lived. Outside the manor, several figures stopped a woman who was going to enter the manor. "Princess Shadow, why don't you even say hello when you see me? You rush back." Among those figures, the head is a young man wearing a white robe. This young man with a smile on his face stared at the beautiful woman in front of him. While talking, his hand was symbolic. "Go pat the woman's shoulder." The beautiful woman was taken aback, took a few steps back, and said coldly, "Sha Gongzi, I am already a husband. Please respect yourself." Haha, what about husbands? In the early days, there were many long-lived practitioners in the world. After a long period of time, it was normal to change dozens or even hundreds of husbands. What is it? "Princess, in my opinion, why do you abandon your useless husband and follow the boy in the future?" The evil smile on the face of this white-robed, evil young man is stronger, and he keeps moving forward. The beautiful woman approached, and her hand stretched out towards that woman's stop. A loud drink suddenly sounded, and in the manor, a figure hurried out. Seeing the man coming out, Jian Wushuang standing in the void at the top, but a smile appeared. The man who walked out of him was his second elder, Zhuo Peng. As for the beautiful woman, of course, his wife, the shadow princess of the Blood Martin family. "Sha Gongzi, what are you doing?" Wu Zhuoping came to Princess Ing and appeased Princess Ing. Then Tai Ching looked at the man in white robe. That is, Sha Gongzi looked at it. "What do you do? What does the boy do?" The expression on the face of the boy Sha has also changed, becoming a bit cold. "Well, you didn't do anything best, otherwise you should be aware of the order given by the Jiwei Patriarch. Our Bishua's Wang people can be different from those of the ordinary Jiwei tribe. You better be respectful." Zhuo Peng Lung hummed. After speaking, Zhuo Peng ignored the Sha Gongzi and returned to the manor with Princess Ing. Suddenly, when Zhuo Peng and Ing entered the manor, the face of Sha Gongzi was completely gloomy. "My son, my subordinates don't understand. This Zhuo Peng is just a saint-level ant. As for Princess Naing, although the princess of the Blood Mink family, the Blood Mink family is nothing at all in front of you. Why didn't you come straight?" A servant beside Sha Gongzi couldn't help asking. Chapter 3648. 3 more arrived today. The servant knew the identity of Sha Gongzi and the power he possessed. There is a Blood Martin family in Wanxiu district. This Shigongzi will not be considered at all. In fact, these Shigongzi have been hitting the wall for years. And when he heard the servant's words, the son of Sha said, "Daughter, what do you know? If you can use strong, this son has already used strong. And you still use it? Just this Bashu is Wang. And Jue, those people of one family, are really very different. When I came to this nine-tailed family with my father, the nine-tailed patriarch said on the spot that the entire nine-tailed family, no matter who I want to get, there is no problem. Only this Bashu is Wang. I can't touch, He said this in front of my father." In front of the master? The servant immediately surprised. The nine-tailed patriarch has been asking for his father these years, and he is extremely polite to his father on weekdays, but this time he said it very toughly. Obviously, the position of Bashua's Wang in her heart is very high, and I have also investigated Bashuazwang over the years, and I know that the reason why Bashuazwang is special is that the third son of Bashuazwang is the sword prince who made the whole world of the gods shake in the beginning of the beginning. Sha Gongzi said, Jiantian Ho. The servant immediately surprised. Qi Jian Tian Ho. In the early days of the world, as long as it was an undead saint with the highest strength or the ruler of the rule, no one knew it. That was the first demon in the history of the gods in the early days. At the level of saints, he dared to shake up the existence of the three sacred masters. Although nearly 100,000 years have passed, the sword heaven has also disappeared. However, his deeds and legends have been circulating in the early world of God. This sword is truly incredible in terms of talent and potential, and his background is not ordinary. Even my father didn't dare to be a bit timid about this sword, and he also told me not to provoke Bashuazwang when he was fine. However, I have stayed in the nine-tailed family these years. Although the nine-tailed family is charming, I have been tired of playing, and the Shadow Princess of the Blood Martin family is really long. Master Shah's words did not finish, but his servants already understood what he meant. They have been following Sha Gongzi, and they are very clear about what Sha Gongzi is, that is, a master who relies on his father and then becomes lawless. Since they followed Sha Gongzi, as long as he is a woman who looks like Sha Gongzi, almost nothing is unavailable. Even if the other party has some background and some strength, as long as the Shagzi wants, they can still be easily obtained because those backgrounds are in front of the Shagzi's father. Nothing can be considered, no matter what kind of enemy he provokes. His father can easily set it flat. Only this time, he was tired of the Jiwei tribe. And then he liked princessing, but princessing is a member of Bashuazwang. To the youngest of Bashuazwang and the legendary genius of the early gods. Although his father was not afraid of fear, he did not want to provoke him easily. So, he has been following the Shadow Princess for many years, but he has never dared to use hard. At most, he just found a chance to harass the Shadow Princess. Son, since the princess has a sword behind her back, do you want to give up on that, son? The servant next to him whispered, Give up. Sha Gongzi sneered. The woman this boy looks like has never been available, and this Shadow Princess is the same. Even if there is a sword Tianho behind him, the sword Tianho has disappeared. For 100,000 years, who knows whether it is death or alive now? Not to mention, I am not stupid. I will not forcibly break into the Bashuazwang to grab it. I can wait for an opportunity. As far as I know, the Shadow Princess will be accompanied by that Zhuopeng to stay with several guards to return to the Blood Mink family. Although the nine-tailed family and the Blood Martin are allies, they are two after all. Different ethnic groups do not have a directly connected space channel. She still has to return to the nine-tailed clan by herself. And we can start on the way. Kill their guards, kill that Zhuopeng, and don't give them any chance to send a message or ask for help. As for the princess neighing, suppress her first, wait for me to get tired. And then kill her. This demon domain, there are many dangers. There are countless kinds of interceptions. They are killed on the way, as long as we clean our hands and feet. Who can guess that we did it? As for the sword heaven, even if he really comes back one day, he won't find our heads. My son is wise. The servants complied immediately when they heard what Sha Gongzi said. There was also a proud smile on Gong Nasha's face, but they didn't know that their dialogue was heard in the ear by the swordless sword above, and the expression of swordless sword had already become extremely cold. Without any warning, Jian Wu's double figure has swooped down outside of Bashuazwang. The son of Sha still looked at the manor in front with some nostalgia, and then he beckoned, let's go back and find some Jiwei people first. Master Sha turned, and the servants also turned. But when they turned around, they were shocked to find that a figure did not know when they had come to them. This figure came so suddenly. Although this Sha Gongzi is just a top-level undead saint, his ordinary ones are arranged by his father himself, and they are all the master level of rules. Among them, the one who just talked to Sha Gongzi is still master of the rules of the four realms. This kind of strength already existed in the realm of the gods in the early days. However, even the ruler who reached the four realms did not find it all when this figure came behind them. "Who are you?" Sha Gongzi frowned at the person in front of him. "You just said that just waiting for the Princess Ying to return to the blood mink family, you will kill her, and Zhuo Peng beside her." Jian Wu's eyes were cold, and he stared at the sand dude in front of him. "What is it?" Sha Gongzi said coldly. He did not expect that the dialogue with his servants had even been heard by the people in front of him, and he heard them clearly. "It's nothing. I just want to tell you that you died because of what you just said." Jian Wushuang's eyes never entrained any emotions. As soon as the voice fell, his right index finger had slowly lifted up and looked forward. Sha Gongzi nodded. Chapter 3649. The first is more. Not good. Seeing Jian Wushuang suddenly shot, Sha Gongzi's servants suddenly changed their faces. These ordinary people were arranged by Sha Gongzi's father next to Sha Gongzi. The purpose is to protect the safety of Sha Gongzi. Now I see that someone actually shot at Sha Gongzi. Although I don't know who the person in front of is and what his origin, but these servants still rushed forward without hesitation, trying to stop Jian Wushuang. However, just after the servants moved, a little divine power had swept out of Jian Wushuang, covering them at the same time. There are 4 servants around Sha Gongzi. All of them are masters of the rules, but when that trace of divine power was covered on them, all 4 masters of the rules showed a horror, and all 4 of them were in stature. There, 3 people watched as their gods began to collapse. This collapse, they couldn't stop it at all, and their divine power disappeared madly. Suddenly, the bodies of the 3 rulers were completely disintegrated, and the 3 figures disappeared completely in this heaven and earth. The only one who survived was the one who had spoken to Sha Gongzi before reaching the rule of the void. Although he wasn't dead, he couldn't move the slightest. He could only watch the disappearance of the 3 servants beside him in horror. At the same time, the sand dude in front of him was also hit by the index finger of Jian Wushuang's right hand. There was no change on the surface of the Sha Gongzi, but the divine power in his body had been wiped out instantly, and his voice had been completely cut off, leaving only a cold body still standing there with his eyes widened. From beginning to end, no matter whether it was the 3 servants or the Sha Gongzi, there was no time to scream, but all 4 died. "Do you know why you are not the same as them?" Jian Wushuang retracted his palm and looked at the servant who had reached the void in a dim manner. This servant was already scared stupid. When he heard Jian Wushuang's words, he looked at Wu Jian's Chao Jian Wushuang. "The reason you didn't die is because I want you to take the body of your son to your master and tell your master why the son of Sha died and killed. His name is Jian Tianhou." Wu Jianshuang's voice was very bland, but in the ear of the servant, it sounded like a thunder. "Jian Tianhou? He is Jian Tianhou." The servant's whole body trembled. Qi Jian Tianhou. The reputation of the world in the early days was too great. Even though he has disappeared for nearly 100,000 years now, various legends about him are still spread in the early world of the gods. Just now he talked to Sha Gongzi about this sword Tianhou, and he knew that even the one behind them was unwilling to provoke this sword Tianhou easily. Now, the man who killed Sha Gongzi turned out to be the sword heaven. "You can roll." Jian Wushuang waved his hand. Where did the servant dare to stay? He immediately picked up the corpse of Sha Gongzi and ran towards the void in the side. Jian Wushuang took a look at the servant's direction of departure, but a cold smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. The father of Sha Gongzi should be the six-state extreme of the nine-tailed family. He can make smart choices. To him, the Sha Gong apparently hit the attention of his loved ones and even planned to kill the princess on the way back to the blood mink family. You know, that Princess Shadow is his sister-in-law and Zhuo Peng his second brother. Since the other party wants to kill his relatives, no matter who the other party is or what status he is, he will kill it without hesitation. What's more, he is completely despotic in the early world of God. Even the three sacred realms are completely out of his mind now. As for the father behind Sha Gongzi, Jian Wushuang didn't pay attention to it. Already, if the six realms is extremely uninteresting, it's no wonder I am. The sharp sword flashed in Wu Jian's eyes, but immediately stepped into the front of the Bishuazwang. For Jian Wushuang, the heavy law formation at Bai Shuangzhuang is of no avail. He clearly came to Bai Shuazhuang and soon outside the lobby. Before Wu entered the lobby, Jian Wushuang had already heard the conversation of his close relatives in the lobby. Yinger, rest assured, as long as there is a day of Bishuazwang, the son of sand will never dare to hurt you. Zhuo Peng comforted the shadow princess in her arms. The head of the Jiwei tribe has given an order long ago. No one can get arrogant in the Bishuazwang. Although the son of Sha Shao has an extremely remarkable father, he does not dare to overdo it in the face of the order of the head of the Jiwei tribe. Sha Gongzi's status and identity are there. In these years, he has been wantonly in the Jiwei clan, and no one can manage it. Now that he is focusing on the younger brother and sister, it is definitely a big trouble for us. Zhuo Ice Road. Father, why don't we go and talk to the patriarch of Jiwei again? Zhuo Peng couldn't help it. No. Zhuo Yunfeng, who was sitting at the top, waved his hand and said, after all, though the Sha Gongzi has acted a little bit, he hasn't done anything really excessive. The nine-tailed clan is now the first group in the demon domain, and the other three Protoss have been fighting against the nine-tailed clan. At this time, we can't bother her for a trivial matter, or it may cause resentment from the nine-tailed patriarch. Zhuo Yunfeng is very clear that his family is only temporarily attached to the Jiwei clan. The reason why the Jiwei clan will take care of them more is because of Jian Wushuang, and the Jiwei clan has done it for them. These years, there are already enough things. If they have any trivial matters, they will take the initiative to bother the nine-tailed patriarch, which will inevitably cause the other party's dissatisfaction. That can't keep the entangled in the shadows all the time. Zhuo Pengshin said, but he has just finished. Rest assured, from now on, you don't need to worry about Sha Shatzi anymore. A voice echoed suddenly in the lobby. His voice dropped, and a familiar figure suddenly appeared in the middle of the lobby. As soon as Wu Jianshuang appeared, he immediately smiled. Father, mother, older sister, second brother, I am back. When I saw the figure suddenly appearing in front of me, Zhuo Yunfeng was surprised at first. Two children, Wu Zhuo Yunfeng and Luo Xinqin, stood up for the first time. Three brothers, Wu Zhuobing and Zhuo Peng, immediately ushered in towards the sword unparalleled, and their faces were full of surprises. Chapter 3650, Second War. Schwanger, you are finally back. The first person who came to Jianwa's front was Luo Xinqin. As a mother, she was the most worried about Jian Wushuang among the people present. Like Zhuo Yunfeng, Zhuo Bing, and Zhuo Peng, although they are not worried about Jian Wushuang for so many years, they all know Jian Wushuang's strength and ability, and they believe that Jian Wushuang will definitely return. But some things are delayed in the middle already. I only have Luo Xinqin. She has always been at ease with Jian Wushuang. Even if she knows that her son is strong, she still cares about day and night. Until now, seeing Jian Wushuang appearing in front of her, she finally felt relieved. Mother, I'm sorry. These years have made you worry." Jian Wushuang apologized. He also knows that it took him too long to go outside this time. The most important thing is that because he has been trapped in that special space and time for nearly 100,000 years, it is calculated, because it is in the cosmic void. He can't report his peace to these loved ones as soon as possible, and they will naturally cause them worry. Anyway, just come back. Shui Yunfeng smiled. Yes, the third brother. You have spent nearly 100,000 years going out this time. We were really worried at first, but now that you return home safely, it will be fine. Shui Bing also smiled. By the third brother, when you first entered the door, you said you don't have to worry about the SH Gong from now on. What's going on? Shui Peng asked. It's very simple. When I just came in, I saw the scene where he was entangled with his sister-in-law, and I also heard that Sha Shatzi discussed with his servants after you entered Bishuazwang, and only waited for the sister-in-law to return to the Blood Martin family. I intercepted you on the way, so I came forward and killed the sand dude directly. Jian Wushuang Feng Qinyan said indifferently. He could hear him, but Zhuo Peng was startled. Three brother, what did you just say? You killed Sha Shatzi? Zhuo Peng looked at Jian Wushuang in horror. It's killing. Jian Wushuang smiled. Not only him, but also his three servants are dead. As for his body, I took the rest of his servants back. Three brother, although Sha wanted to kill us on the way between Yinger and Yinger's Blood Martin family, it really is good, but he couldn't kill him. Zhuo Peng frowned. Yes, the third brother, although Sha is not a thing. After all, he has a very good father. His father, even the current nine-tailed patriarch, has a respectful presence. Shui Bing also. Shuanger, Shui Yunfeng, and Luo Xinqin also looked at Xiang Jian Wushuang anxiously. Jian Wushuang smiled. Second brother, elder sister, you don't need to worry. Although I haven't met the father of Sha Gong, I already felt his presence when I came to the Jiwei clan, and since he dare to kill Sha Gong directly, he is naturally able to cope with his father. Able to cope with his father? Zhuo Peng looked surprised at Xiang Jian Wushuang. Although his strength is still only a saint level, but because of his origin in Bishuazwang, he is very special in the Jiwei family. He usually has many contacts with the Jiwei family. He also, naturally, heard the father's ability. As far as he knows, the father of Sha Gongzi is said to be the master of the strongest rule in the early divine realm. In the early divine realm, only the three sacred realms can qualify to be above his father, Lord and legendary masters. Such a superpower. His third brother can easily handle it. Three brother, are you really sure? Shui Bing also looked over. Just rest assured. If Sha's father doesn't come, he's fine. If he does come, he'll lose himself. Jian Wushuang smiled. Not only with absolute confidence in his words, at the same time, he also carried disdain for the father of Sha Gongzi. It is indeed true that the master of the ultimate rule of the six realms is indeed no longer his heart. Now he can make him face up. That is, only the strong dominated level, and not the ordinary primary dominated. As long as the higher and higher dominated, he is eligible to be treated seriously. What else is the father of Jaina Sha? Wu Jianshuang is talking to his relatives, but at this moment, people in Bishuazwang, get out of my husband. There was a roar, but it was a fierce blast in this world. This roar contained a terrifying shock wave. This shock wave was extremely arrogant. At the first time, it directly smashed the heavy law circle around Bishuazwang. At the same time, a strong oppression came immediately to everyone in Bishuazwang. Under this oppression, the guards in Bishuazwang knelt on the ground in horror, one by one shaking. As for the people in the lobby, because of the existence of Jian Wu, they could easily withstand the oppression, and naturally there was no discomfort. But after hearing this roar, Zhui Yunfeng's look changed. Is Sha Gongzi's father, Shahai Lord? Zhuo Peng said in a low voice. Shahai Demon Lord. Jian Wushuang nodded secretly. This Shahai Demon Lord really came to the door. And yes, my previous record and fame may be able to scare the Rule Master, but this Shah, after all, the master of the sea monster, is the master of the extreme rules of the 6 realms, and he will not be scared by my previous records. Wu Jianshou smiled, faintly followed a few people around him, and said, since the Shahai Demon Lord has come to the door actively, let's go out and meet him for a while. After finishing talking, Jian Wushuang and Zhuo Yunfeng walked towards the manor together. Nine-tailed clan, the deepest place in the clan, the current head of the nine-tailed clan, that is, Miss Shower, is negotiating with some senior elders of the nine-tailed clan. The current nine-tailed clan has many powerful men, but most of the powerful ones are controlled by this young lady with 9 life charm. They absolutely obey the order of Miss Shower, but these elders of the nine-tailed clan, it is not enough to control them all. At this moment, people in Bishua's Wang, get out of my husband. The roar of the Shahai Lord not only sounded in the entire Bishua's Wang, but also the entire nine-tailed family. The Shower and the many elders of the nine-tailed family discussed here, including the countless members of the nine-tailed family, almost they all heard the roar. Bishua's Wang. Su Shower's face suddenly changed. This voice and this angry atmosphere is the Lord of the Sands. Oops. Xiao Shower no longer cares about the matter at hand, and immediately sets off to rush towards Bishua's Wang at the fastest speed. Chapter 36:51. There is something temporary. There is only one chapter today, and the next chapter is due the day after tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. Because of the roar, before, the Bishua's Wang at this moment has become the focus of the Jiwei clan. 9-tailed clan chiefs who heard a lot of that roar arrived here, and when these clan people saw standing in the void outside Bishua's Wang, their robes rolled, and the fierce lord of the sandy sea and a person beside him, when the icy corpses supported by the ruler were surprised, they all recognized that the corpse was the son of Shahai Demon Lord, Sha Gongzi, Lord of the Sands. This is a super powerful master who has reached the rule of the Lord, and this existence was invited by their patriarch at a great cost. The purpose is, of course, to deal with the already united 3 great Protoss. After all, the 3 Protoss joined forces, and their strength is extremely strong. Although the 9-tailed tribe has skyrocketed in strength over the years because of Miss Shower, the overall strength is not much stronger than the 3 Protoss joined together. Therefore, 9 tails if a family wants to defeat these 3 Protoss with an overwhelming trend, or even unify the entire demon domain, then it must have a stronger combat force to join. A 6-strength extreme power can play a decisive role in the battle between the 2 camps in this monster realm. Therefore, the importance of the Shahai Demon Lord to the Jiwei can be imagined. And let's not talk about the price that Miss Shower paid to invite the Shahai Demon Lord to the Jiwei clan. It is just these years that Miss Shower acquiesced to the Shahai Demon's son Sha Gongzi's wanton behavior. It can be seen that Miss Shower pays attention to Shahai Demon Lord. It is for this reason that in the weekdays, the Jiwei people are in awe of the Shahai Demon Lord, and they respect their son Sha Gongzi. They dare not provoke them, but now that Sha Gongzi died, no wonder this Lord of the Sands will be so furious. Gianti and Ho, get out! When the people were talking about it, the Lord of the Shahai made another cold and scream. Jian Tianho. When I heard this name, many people of the Jiwei clan were shocked again. Suddenly in the void, not far away, the Miss Shower who was galloping and the elders and seniors of the Jiwei clan were also shocked. The names of Ji Jian Tianho are no stranger to the Jiwei people. Send Lord of the Sea, you dare to come. Jian Wushuang's cold laughter resounded in this heaven and earth, and his figure has slowly walked out of the Bishuizwang behind him, and Zhuozhua in the Bishuizwang Yunfeng, and Luo Xinxin. As soon as I saw Jian Wushuang, the eyes of the Shanghai demon seemed to burst into anger. Jian Tianhou, you have such a courage to dare to kill my son. Not only are you going to die today, but everyone in this Bishuizwang will have no place to die. These people in Bishuizwang should be yours be relatives, and you'll torture these people one by one in front of you. Shanghai demon said coldly, "Want to kill me? Kill my loved ones." Jian Wushuang's mouth, slightly angled, laughed. "Then you have to have such ability. This seat will let you see. Don't think that you have some slight record. Then you can run rampant in the beginning of the world." The killing spirit of the Lord of the Sands is surging wildly, and a lot of divine power is spreading like a tide. Out. All of a sudden, a terrifying coercion filled the world. "Sandmaster, stop." The Lord of the Shanghai Devil has not yet shot, but many high-level members of the Jiwei clan have already arrived. The current head of the Jiwei tribe, Shower, the elders of the Jiwei tribe have also come to the void outside Bishuizwang. After arriving here, the young lady looked at the corpse around the Lord of the Sands and stood there. When the sword outside Wushuang's wang was unparalleled, her eyes and pupils shrank drastically, and her heart probably guessed the whole process. "Chief Ninetail, do you want to stop me?" Shanghai demon glanced at Shower coldly, although Shower is the head of the Nine-Tailed clan, and the Nine-Tailed clan is now as high as the sun, but as the ultimate strength of the six realms, the Shanghai demon lord did not take Shower and the Nine-Tailed clan to heart. "Shanghai demon lord, I am afraid there is some misunderstanding of this today." Xiao Erlian said, "Misunderstanding?" Shanghai demon sneered. "This sword is killing me, and the guards around him will bring his body back to me to see. Is this a misunderstanding?" "This." Xiao air sank slightly, followed by Jian Wushuang looking down. "Jian Tianhou, when are you back in the clan?" "Just returned." "Jian Wushuangdo, the son of Sha you killed?" Shower asked again. "If you are talking about the corpse next to the Lord of the Sands, I did kill it." Jian Wushuang admitted frankly. I heard Jian Wushuang's answer. Xiao Air's face was even more ugly. "President Nine-Tailed, you also heard that this sword Tianhou killed my son and was so arrogant that he didn't put this seat in his eyes. No matter who he came out today, this seat will not give face. He also today, you must die." The voice of the Shanghai demon lord was cold, and at the moment the voice fell, a sharp arc flashed in his eyes. There is no sign of this. The Lord of the Sands has already appeared in front of Jian Wushuang. At the same time, a cold spear has stabbed at the sword Wushan deity like lightning. Too fast. This Shanghai demon lord is indeed a strong battler in the six realms. The speed of his shot is too bad. Many of the strong nine-tailed powers around him, including the Miss Shower, did not react at all. Miss Shower wanted to stop, but she was obviously too late. What's more, the spear stabbed by the Lord of the Sands is too fast and too aggressive. It is a full blow of the six-realm extreme, and it has already completely locked Jian Wushuang. It is clear that it is not intended to give sword warriors no chance. Seeing this spear speared by lightning, many nine-tailed patriarchs around him showed their horror. The spear of might spun out of the spear, and letting it escape at will has caused many rulers present to be shocked. It is conceivable how powerful the spear is. And this spear, towards the sword Wushuang stabbed away. 2 children. 3 brother, be careful. Several people behind Zhui Yunfeng's face changed greatly, although Jian Wushuang himself said that he didn't need to care about the Shanghai demon at all. Now they saw that the Shanghai demon took the shot himself and felt the spear contained in it. Of the horror of power, they still began to worry about the sword unmatched. However, in the face of this terrifying spear, Jian Wushuang only smiled slightly. His right hand was raised and his slowly extended. Chapter 3652. The first is here. The sound sounded like a metal impact. The shocking divine power formed a terrifying shock wave, swept away in all directions. Many of the nine-tailed ethnic groups standing in the surrounding void, those who were close to each other under this shock wave, were blown up and down, even if they were relatively far away, and were also shocked to keep their eyes open. Until a moment later, the shock wave dissipated. The talent looked up again and looked forward into the void. At this glance, everyone's eyes and pupils stared round. I saw that in the void, Jian Wushuang still stood there casually with one hand on his back, and the index finger of the other hand was just the tip of the spear that came from the stab of the Lord of the Sands. The spear of the Lord of the Sands once contains the power that can definitely kill any ruler under the six realms, even if it is the ruler of the six realms. At least it has to be hit hard. But now, Jian Wushuang only uses one finger to resist the spear pierced by the full force of the Lord of the Sands, but his body is still intact. What is this strength? How is that possible? The Lord of the Sands, and sea himself, is also cyanotic. He knew very well that this spear was used with all his strength, with the extreme combat power of his six realms. He speared them with all his might, even if they were the three lords of the highest sanctuary in the beginning of the divine realm. It also takes a little effort to resist. With just one finger, he stagnated his spear by birth. This strength, even the three sacred masters, never possessed it. Dominate the combat power. The Lord of the Shahai could not help but think of this thought, and the bottom of his heart had set off a huge wave. He has also heard of Jian Wushuang before, and he also knows some achievements of Jian Wushuang. Although those achievements are quite amazing, the real strength of Jian Wushuang in those achievements is not enough to make his six realms extremely powerful. Feared. Don't talk about fear. Even he doesn't have to worry about it. The reason why he was unwilling to provoke Jian Wushuang easily was mainly because of Jian Wushuang's potential. The talent and potential of Jian Wushuang are so strong that no one knows what he will achieve in the future. Because of this, he is unwilling to provoke Jian Shuang. However, talent and potential do not mean how strong Jian Wushuang is now. At least today when I saw Jian Wushuang, the Lord of the Sands had never thought of Jian Wushuang's combat power and would be stronger than him. After all, Jian Wushuang lost his trace in the divine realm in the early days, and it was less than 100,000 years. In the short period of 100,000 years, it was actually a short period of time for the ruler. He thought that Jian Wushuang was here in the past 100,000 years. The strength may have improved, but never imagined that Jian Wushuang's strength has even been improved to such an incredible degree. With the help of a finger, I will go all out to pierce the spear. This kind of strength is completely dominating the level. After thinking about this, the bottom of Shahai Demon Lord made an instant decision. Escape. There was no hesitation. The moment the Lord of the Sands knew the sword's combat power, he turned around and began to flee wildly. As for the hatred of his son, he didn't want to report it at all now. Jokes, my son can regenerate, but his life is only one. The Lord of the Sands and Seas has been able to go step by step today and has made endless efforts. Of course, he cherishes his life. I saw that the Prince of the Sand and Sea turned around and fled, and the patriarchs of the Zhouwei family who were watching the surrounding scenes showed their astonishment. But Jian Wushuang smiled a little. Did you just say that you want to kill me? And have you tortured my former ones one by one to death? Now your goals have not been achieved yet. Why are you anxious? Are you leaving? Wu Jianshuang's words contained a strong sense of ridicule. He watched the Lord of the Sands flee, but did not want to leave to chase. Until the Lord of the Sands has escaped to the end of the void, and seeing that he was about to escape from his sight, the two sides of the sword slowly extended their fingers. Okay, the word fell, and the power of a large number of time and space rules, with the huge power of direct coverage of the past, directly covered the entire nine-tailed tribe. Suddenly, the space-time integrating the nine-tailed clan completely stagnated, and the Shahai demon, who had escaped to the end of the void, was also caught in the stasis of time and space, and his body could not move at all. A designated sky technique, the first form of space-time magic. This sword has not been cast for a long time. After all, he was only a saint, and his divine power was not too strong. In addition, his use of the rules of time and space was not too high. The main thing is that most of the opponents he encountered along the way were far higher than his existence. This also makes it difficult for him to exert much influence on the other party, even if he exerts his full power on a given sky. But now it's different. At present, his divine power is absolutely dominated. Even if the use of the rules of time and space is not too high, he can only use this outrageous divine power to perform a designated astronomy. There is basically no master of any rules can resist. As soon as a designated astronomy comes out, the 6 strength extremes, such as the Lord of the Sands, will immediately fall into the stagnation of time and space. And then the swordless double figure is a flash and has left the place. When he appeared again, the Lord of the Sands had completely fallen into his control, and the power of the Lord of the Sands had been severed by him by more than 90%, and the whole person was already in the weakest. The state even fell into a deep sleep. Miss Shower, I know that the Lord of the Sands is extremely important to you, but after all, he is the most powerful of the 6 realms. Your 9-life enchantment cannot completely control him, so now I will help you. He was forced to the weakest and deepest stage of sleep. At this time, if you can no longer control him, it is no wonder I am. Wu Jianshou smiled lightly and waved his hands at will, and the Shahai demon lord, who was already so weak and had lost his resistance, was thrown to Shower's side. Sword Wushuang is right. Shahai demon lord is very important to her. She must rely on the strength of Shahai demon lord to suppress the 3 Protoss, but Shahai demon lord is too strong. She can't control it at all. She can ask him for help with some superior conditions or benefits. Even when the Sha Gongzi was lawless in the 9-tailed clan, she just opened her eyes and closed her eyes. But the power that can't be controlled is tantamount to a certain time bomb, which also keeps some scruples in her heart. And now, Jian Wushuang's move definitely helped her a lot. Chapter 36:53. Hey, the second is here. Without any hesitation, Shower directly casts the 9-life charm and began to control the Lord of the Sands. In the peak period of the Shahai demon lord, even if he is in the midst of severe damage, Shower cannot directly control it with charm, but now the Shahai demon lord is weak and falls asleep. At this juncture, there is absolutely no resistance. Only for a moment, Shower has controlled the Shahai demon lord. Xiao Er had an irrepressible surprise in his heart after he controlled the Lord of the Sands. This is a real 6-realm extreme. Now she has become her slave, which means that she can control this battle power as she wants, although now the Lord of the Sands has fallen asleep. However, as long as there are some talented and precious treasures, it will not be long for this Shahai demon lord to wake up and restore its peak strength. I took a deep breath, and Shower finally came over to Jian Wushuang. When I came to Jian Wushuang, looking at Jian Wushuang at the moment, Xiao Er was a little complicated inside. The first time she saw Jian Wushuang in the Endless Territory, Jian Wushuang was still an ant-like figure in her eyes, just because she saw that Jian Wushuang was carrying several mysteries of Qi Xingzong, and he and Qi Xing Xuanzong had a lot of connection, so she was willing to associate with Jian Shuangshuang, and even formed an alliance. When we met again later, Jian Wushuang had already had a monstrous reputation in the early world of the gods, and he was also followed by a powerful Xinhua lord, and a strong man from the Xingong even respected Jian Wushuang. At that time, it was because of the help of Jian Wushuang that she was able to regain control of the Nine-Tailed clan, and until now she has led the Nine-Tailed clan to become the first family of the demon domain. Now, this is the third time she has seen Jian Wushuang. As a result, this time Wu Jianshuang's monstrous strength was revealed, but she had nothing to look at. The master of the Sand Sea, who is the ultimate in the 6 realms, has no hands in this sword, and he is like a baby. He has no ability to struggle and resist. When I met 3 times, Jian Wushuang's growth rate was really terrible. Jiantianho, if I'm not mistaken, you should have reached the level of master now. Xiao asked. Many people around Juwei also looked at Jian Wushuang in the past. They also have doubts in their hearts. Is this sword lord already dominated? Most people think that they should have already been reached. After all, the horrific combat power that Jian Wushuang just showed can only be achieved by the strong masters. But some people also think that although Jian Wushuang is far stronger than the rule master, it should not have reached the level of dominance. And Jian Wushuang just smiled. You can think of me as an ordinary master. As soon as the words came out, Xiao knew immediately. She knows that even though Jian Wushuang is not really the master now, she definitely has the power of master level. You can't think of it in less than 100,000 years. You have already reached this step. Xiao couldn't help but sigh. Miss Xiao, these years, thank you for taking care of my parents and others. Jian Wushuangdo. Through previous conversations with Zhui Yunfeng and others, Jian Wushuang knew that in the years that he had fought in the universe, the Miss Xiao was good to them, and he opened a clear water village for them in the Nine-Tailed clan. It was also commanded that the position of Fan Shui's Wang in the Jiuwei tribe is equivalent to the worship of the Jiuwei tribe. So in the past 100,000 years, Zhui Yunfeng has been very comfortable here. At least no one dares to find trouble for them. And what kind of needs do they have? Even the son of Sha, it is because of Xiao's strict orders and restrictions that he has never dared to overdo it in these years. I can say that this young lady is really taking care of them, and Jian Wushuang is satisfied with her care. Jiantianhu, listen to what you mean. When you come back this time, are you taking your loved ones away? Xiao asked. Yes. Jian Wushuang nodded. I'm back this time to take them back to the endless territory and back to their own place. As soon as Wu Jianshuang's words were finished, Zhui Yunfeng, who was standing behind, was immediately excited. Shuanger, you just said, we are going back to Wuxia Wasteland. Zhui Yunfeng stepped forward. Yes, father. Jian Wushuang nodded with a smile. Before, I had provoked strong enemies in the early world of God. I was worried that those strong enemies would be detrimental to you, so I have always let Miss Xiao take care of you. But now, although those strong enemies are still there, with my current strength, I can stop paying attention to those strong enemies. And even after a short time, I will take action and destroy all those strong enemies. Naturally, you can also return to the Witch Sandy Wasteland. Jian Wushuang knows that among these close relatives, Zhuo Bing and Zhuo Peng are okay, but Zhui Yunfeng and Luo Xinqin have stayed in Wuxia Wasteland and have long regarded Wuxia Wasteland as their own. Roots, these years they have been under the protection of Xiao. Although they have been more comfortable, they still want to return to their hometown. But they also know that Jian Wushuang handed them over to Xiao to take care of them, and they definitely had a purpose, so they have not asked Xiao to take them back in these years. Until now. I heard Jian Wushuang said that they could return to their hometown. Of course excited, of course rejoicing. Father, mother, go ahead and prepare. We will start tomorrow. Jian Wushuangdo. It is good. Ji Zhui Yunfeng and Luo Xinqin both agreed and rejoiced. And soon everyone in Bishuazwang went back to prepare. The people around the Jue people also began to disperse. Jian Tianho, can you talk about it in time? Shower said. Yes. Jian Wushuang nodded. Follow me. Wu Shower led Jian Wushuang, and soon came to a secret room of the Jue clan. Except for Shower and Jian Wushuang, there is no one in this secret room. Even the senior elders of the Jue clan are not present. Jian Tianho, you said that it won't take long before you will destroy your strong enemies, and your strong enemies refer to... Shower looked at Jian Wushuang. 3 sacred realms. Jian Wushuang said directly, sure enough. Shower took a secret breath. She knows some origins of Jian Wushuang, and naturally knows that Jian Wushuang's strong enemies are the 3 sacred realms. But what she did not expect is that Jian Wushuang is about to prepare for the 3 sacred realms. 3 sacred realms were deeply ingrained in the divine realm in the early days. The Lord of the 3 sacred realms had the blessing of heavenly will, and it was not easy to uproot them. Shower said. Chapter 36:54. The first is here. The Lord of the 3 holy realms is nothing, but you said that the 3 holy realms are deeply entrenched and difficult to uproot. This is a fact. Sword Wushuangdo, the masters of the 3 sacred realms, even under the might of the will of the heavens, are better than the main rules, but they are far worse than the real masters. With the current combat power of Jian Wushuang, it is easy to defeat and even kill the 3 holy landlords. However, Demon Star has 3 masters who have already come to this territory, and may have also come to the early divine realm. If the 3 masters join forces with the 3 holy masters, it will be able to cause him some trouble. But it's just some trouble. After all, this pre-God world is just a 3rd-level world star. The rules do not allow thee of the combat power. All the masters who come to the pre-God world will be greatly limited in strength. Even if the 3 masters are magic clouds, the people under the master, the heavenly will power of the world at the beginning will still suppress them. Even if the Lord of the clouds is not willing to suppress it, the cosmic laws in it can make him have to suppress it. Since the combat power of the 3 masters will be greatly suppressed, it is also impossible to compete with him. Ms. Shower, when I shot at the 3 holy realms, I hope you can lead the entire demon realm and help me to destroy the 3 holy realms together. Jian Wushuangdo, it would be no problem for me to help you fully. Now I can fully grasp the extreme power of the 6 realms of the Lord of the Sands. It is not difficult to unify the entire demon realm, but the 3 sacred realms dominated the world in the beginning for a long time, relying solely on the power of my demon realm. I wanted to wipe out all the power of the 3 sacred realms. This is impossible. Shower said, it's not enough to have a demon field alone, but what about the 3 major free alliances? Jian Wushuangdo, 3 freedom alliances? Shower froze. Miss Shower, to tell you the truth, the 3 major free alliances are on the same line as me. As long as I shoot against the 3 sanctuaries, the 3 major free alliances will help me at all costs. It is not only the 3 major free alliances, but also the many powerful men left over by Qixing Xuanzong at that time, and they will also shoot. Jian Wushuangdo. Hearing this, Shower's figure shuddered, and he quickly looked at Jian Wushuang. Jian Tianho, the day you started on the 3 sacred realms, the strong man left by Qixing Xuanzong will see him again. Then, that person will also appear. Shower's voice was obviously agitated and nervous. Of course, Jian Wushuang knew who the person Shower was talking about. He smiled and said, Miss Shower, don't worry. There are many strong men left behind by Qixing Xuanzong, and the person you said, of course it will be among them. And you will naturally meet Miss Shower when you arrive. Jian Wushuang had already learned from Shower's mouth that she had a special relationship with the 7th Emperor Xuanzong, and the seventh star Emperor 13. The one who has been dreaming about these years is Emperor 13. And Emperor 13 is within the resealed law formation. Only himself can refine the seal law formation into his own heaven and earth. At that time, he can of course let the people inside come to the kingdom of Taichu and arrange Emperor 13. It's very easy to meet Miss Shower. That being the case, now I will speed up and suppress the three major protoss. Before you start working on the three sacred realms, I will definitely unify the power of the entire demon realm to help you destroy the three sanctuary. Shower solemnly said, "Okay, but I still have a merciless request." Jian Wushuang said suddenly, "Please say." Shower was very polite. The ancient tribe, one of the three major protoss, is more or less related to me. I have also received some favors from the ancient tribe, so I hope Miss Shower will be able to treat this ancient tribe when you unify the entire demon domain. Open the net. Jianwu Shuangdo, the ancient tribe, one of the four major protoss. Jianwu Shuang and the ancient tribe have a good relationship. Of course, this is because of the last life in the seven-star gods. At that time, he had the blood of the ancients, and he had also been inherited by a strong man from the ancients. He had also cultivated the strongest of the ancients. Refining mystery, I can say that his growth in the last life was absolutely inseparable from the ancients. Even though he did not have any contact with the ancients in this life, the ancients still had a little status in his heart. The sword Wushuang knew that if Shower wanted to unify the entire demon domain, he would have to take the three major protoss. If it was just to defeat the three major protoss and let the three major protoss bow their heads, that's fine, but it's serious point. Shower may directly destroy the three major protoss at any time. So Jian Wushuang will now ask the ancients for a favor. As far as I know, there doesn't seem to be any intersection between you and the ancient clan. Would it make me show mercy to them? Shower looked surprised at Xiang Jianwushuang. Sometimes there were some people, but no one knew about it. Jian Wushuang laughed. Well, since you plead with myself, then I will open the net to this ancient tribe, and will not kill them. At least it will not destroy their ethnic group. If they know each other, they are willing to surrender to my nine-tailed tribe. Then this ancient group will still be the pinnacle of the demon domain in the future. Shower said, "Thank you so much, Jian." Wushuang smiled and arched his hand. After talking with Shower, Jian Wushuang returned to Bishuazwang. The people in the Zhuangbi water village were also ready, and then under the leadership of Jian Wushuang, a group of people looted toward the Endless Territory. 20 days later, the Endless Territory, one of the 9 realms of Jinwu, is within the holy realm of Danyang. In the vast void, there are dozens of silhouettes walking there. These silhouettes are male and female. They are rushing through the void, passing along some cities, and even some gates along the way. The practitioners inside the door looked up to see these figures, but all of them were frightened. It should be noted that this is in an endless territory, and it is still within an ordinary sacred realm. An ordinary sacred realm is generally the strongest person who is the level of the undead saint, and it is also the type of undead saint with the lowest strength. But now, this dozens of silhouettes passing by in the void, any random breath, is enough to shock many practitioners along the way. Obviously, these dozens of silhouettes are all powerful men above the undead saints. In this Danyang holy realm, in the Jinwu 9 realms, and in the entire endless territory, the undead saints are the top strong men. So many the gathering of undead saints is naturally frightening. And these dozens of silhouettes are naturally swordsmen and others. Chapter 36:55. Hey, the second is here. The reason there are dozens of people is because in the nearly 100,000 years since Jian Wushuang left, their descendants of the Zhuo family have continued to multiply for many generations. except that some are not too far away from Jian Wushuang. Apart from the direct descendants, the other descendants did not live in the Jiwei clan, so that Jian Wushuang did not see it when he arrived in Bishuazwang. Now that he wants to return to the endless territory, Zhuo Yunfeng will return with some of his children and grandchildren who are closer to him. Only then will there be dozens of people. Father, it's almost time to burn the Moon City. Jian Wushuangdo. Huh. Zhuo Yunfeng clenched his hands. His heart was extremely excited. He is not only him, but also Luo Xinqin, Zhuo Bing, and Zhuo Peng. A few of them were born in the endless territory, born in the Wuxia Desert area, naturally have a very high sense of belonging to this Wuxia Desert area, especially Zhuo Yunfeng. He was still the owner of the city of the Burnt Moon. As for the other descendants of Zhuo, including Zhuo Peng's wife, Princess Ying, they are more curious about this endless territory and this city of Burning Moon. Soon, the group finally reached the sky above the city of Burning Moon. He looked down at the city below, and Jian Wushuang's soul power saw every corner of the city in his eyes, and his heart also had a hint of sigh. In this lifetime, he shot in this city of Burning Moon, and he also knew that before he was born, it was snowing for 9 years, 9 months, and 9 days, and his mother was pregnant with him for 9 years and 9 years, months, and 9 days. After he was born, the snowfall of the Burning Moon City immediately stopped, and the blood-peaked sword fell from the sky, causing a restlessness. With all this, Jian Wushuang at this moment couldn't help but sigh. He just sighed a little, but Zhuo Yunfeng and Luo Xinqin were already excited. It is the city of Burning Moon. I have seen the main city of that city. Although it is very different from before, the willow tree in the house is still there. It has been more than 100,000 years. This willow tree is still alive. Zhuo Yunfeng was trembling in shape. He ignored the surrounding swords and other people, and himself swooped down directly towards the main city hall below. Looking at your monkey anxious look, I don't know how to converge in front of the juniors. Father, wait a minute. Luo Xinqin and Zhuo Bing even spoke, and they immediately swept down. Jian Wushuang and others naturally followed. The city's main mansion of the Burnt Moon City is indeed still there, but the Lord of the Burnt Moon City has already changed several. The current city owner is a cultivator who has reached the realm of gods and demons. Demon God realm in Wuxia Wasteland is already a strong one. However, when Jian Wushuang arrived at the city's main government, they all felt a little bit of divine power, and they scared the city directly to worship, not to mention those lower-level practitioners in the city's main government. After half an hour, the main city of this city barely calmed down, but at this moment the main city of the Burnt Moon has been reopened by Zhuo Yunfeng. As for the original city owner, Zhuo Yunfeng gave him some treasures at will and let him, those assistants were grateful and left with excitement over those treasures. Zhuo Yunfeng is now an undead saint, and he has spent so many years in the Jiwei clan. He has such a special status and naturally gets a lot of resources. Some of the treasures he took out casually were against a demon realm. In other words, it is simply a gift from God. Of course, the Lord of the gods and demon realms is amazed. As for the position of this Lord, he still cares. 100,000 years have passed, and the city of Burning Moon has changed a lot. Zhuo Yunfeng stood under the ancient willow in the city's main government house, stroking the willow, sighing secretly. 100,000 years is quite long for an ordinary wasteland in the sacred realm of endless territory. In the past 100,000 years, not only the Burning Moon City has changed a lot, but the pattern of the entire Wuxia wasteland has changed. A lot. Jian Wushuang smiled slightly. After he came to the holy land of Danyang, he directly released the power of his soul. In the endless territory, the space is far less stable than the triple sky. The range of the spread of his soul power can be wider. With a single thought, he can see the entire Danyang holy realm in his eyes. The changes in the world are naturally clear to him. I once say that in the Wuxia wasteland, those Zongmen forces have changed a lot. Even the entire Danyang holy realm is very different from before. However, the same as 100,000 years ago, this Danyang holy realm is still controlled by Redstone Castle, and the ruler of Redstone Castle is still Yin Sewer, the daughter of Saint Redstone. And after 100,000 years, the strength of Yin Sewer, it has also been improved a bit more than before. It is now a genuine first-order true saint. In this Jinmu 9 realm, it is already an absolute overlord. Jian Wushuang once had something to do with this Yin Sewer, but she only promised the Red Stone Sage at the beginning, which will help her take full control of the Red Stone Castle. There is no extra friendship between the two, so this time, Jian Wushuang did not intend to inform this Yin Sewer, let alone meet each other. He was only here to bring his loved ones back here, and in addition to refining the Blood North secret. Now that Zhui Yunfeng and others have returned to the city of Burning Moon, Jian Wushuang has laid a simple circle for the main palace of the city of Burning Moon. To ensure that no change will occur in the city of Burning Moon, he and Zhui Yunfeng and others explained that he left for the secret place of Xuebe. The North Mystery is within the sanctuary of Danyang. At the beginning, Jian Wushuang learned about the existence of the Blood North realm under the chance, but later he got a lot of good opportunities in the Blood North secret territory, especially the Star of the Cosmic Battlefield given by Xuebe. The map is the star map, leading him to find the special time and space in the unexplored area of the Magic Smoke Valley. And he got great chance in that special time and space. Jian Wushuang is grateful for the Blood North, the place where the bones are buried. One of the dangerous places recognized by Danyang Holy Realm, but it is like flat ground to the current Sword Wushuang. Jian Shuang easily came to the entrance of the Blood North mystery. Looking at the entrance in front, Jian Wushuang couldn't help smiling. He remembers that he first came to the entrance of the Blood North scenic spot for the first time, but he brought a token. Without the token, he could not find the existence of the Blood North scenario. At that time, he felt that the Blood Northern scenario was hidden deeply, and the means were extremely clever. But now, Jian Wushuang can see through this Blood North secret at a glance. Ignoring the obstacles of the mysterious circle, Jian Wushuang entered the mystery directly and rushed along the way, and easily came to the core of this mystery. At the same time, Jian Wushuang also saw the Old Soul Valley in this secret realm and a trace of consciousness left by the Blood North. Tomorrow there will be 3 changes and the previous change ode. Chapter 3656. The first is here. Mr. Xuebe, Lao Gu, the two are here for nothing. When Jian Wushuang appeared in front of Su Xuebe and the ancient two, they were startled, especially Gu Lao. He is the spirit of this mysterious realm. According to the truth, whenever there is any wind and grass moving in the northern secretion, he is clear, but now someone has come to the northern secretion, and it still appears in front of them. Perception? When Xuebe and Gu Lao clearly came, they were even more shocked. You are the little guy in the first place? Xuebe's consciousness gathered and looked at Jian Wushuang in amazement. It's me. It's been over 100,000 years. I didn't expect that this consciousness of Mr. Xuebe is still there. Jian Wushuang smiled. It's just consciousness. It does NT matter if it exists or not. It's you. I've seen it again after 100,000 years, but I see NT even see you at all, and I can enter this mysterious state in silence and appear and in front of me. Your current strength should be very good. I wonder what level it has reached. Xuebe asked. He is really curious about Jian Wushuang's current strength. because he can't see the sword unmatched at all now. I have to know that he was also the master of the rules of the Void Realm during his lifetime, so that he could not see through it at all. The opponent's strength was at least not lower than he was at the peak. It didn't take long for me to break through to reach the ruler. It is only the ruler in the realm, but my combat power is slightly stronger than the realm, and I can barely match the master. Jian Wushuang said directly, "He is not hiding. I don't really have anything to hide from someone who is dead and only has a hint of consciousness left. Compared to dominate." Shui Bei stared. Gu Lao, who was next to him, was also startled. If someone else said that he had defeated the ruler's main combat power, and they had rivaled the ruler, they would certainly not believe it, but this is what Jian Shuangshuang said. 20,000 years ago, when Jian Wushuang came to the Blood North secret territory, he revealed his incredible talent and the amazing secrets contained in him. At that time, Shui Bei knew that Jian Wushuang's origins were not trivial. Such a person, at the master level of the rule, dominates the combat power, but it is barely convincing. Alas, they were still shocked. That's the master. How many dominated the whole world of the early gods? There are only a handful of them. I was just unwilling to die in such an unknown way, and I will give you all my chances. The purpose is also to pass you on and let my name of the Blood North be transmitted to the early world again, but I did not expect that this behavior will even create a big monster that can rival the master at the level of the master of the rule. Shui Bei shouted, and there was a hint of excitement in his heart. Although he also understands that Jian Wushuang can reach this step today, it must be that he has put in a lot of effort. As for the opportunity he gave, he may have given Jian Wushuang some help, but to say that Jian Wushuang relies on his chance to achieve this step today, it is certainly impossible. But even if this is not the case, it is worth the excitement and pride of Shui Bei. After all, Jian Wushuang once got his chance, but also got his favor, and even said straightforwardly, in the growth process of Jian Wushuang, there is a stroke of him, which is really something to be proud of. Jian Tianhou. Shui Beigang started, but paused. "I call you like this, is it okay?" "Of course, no problem." Jian Wushuang smiled. In fact, Jian Wushuang's combat power is now the dominant level, and even if the Blood North is the peak, it is only a master of the rules of the Void Realm. For strength, if the Blood North sees Sword Wushuang, it will be worshipped even if it worships the capital. Not too much. However, Shui Bei had died long ago and had grace with Jian Wushuang. Now he is directly named Jian Wushuang, and Jian Wushuang can also accept it. When I gave the opportunity to you, I also told you to help me do some things. What happened to those things? Shui Bei asked. "I have done all the things you accounted for. I delivered your Qiankuan ring intact to the means of the strong ancestors of the blood ancestors of Tianzu Dojo, and I also helped you to reincarnate the blood ancestors in Tianzu Dojo, gaining status, the current bloodline, although not the strongest among the many factions in the Tianzu Taoism, but at least other factions dare not easily provoke it. Jian Wushuangdo. As for the leader of the blood race, the blood ancestor, I'm sorry that the blood ancestor has been running in the universe battlefield. Although I have also been to the universe battlefield, I have not met him. So until now, I have also never met him. To the blood ancestor, Jian Wushuang also saw its information when he was wandering in the universe battlefield. The blood ancestor is a ruler with a relatively powerful and arrogant rule, who has reached the peak of the Sixth Order. When Jian Wushuang first went to the ancestral dojo, the blood ancestor was trapped somewhere in the universe battlefield, and later came to the universe battlefield. Jian Wushuang knew that the blood ancestor had been trapped in the quicksand magic domain of one of the three battlefields before. But when he stepped on the battlefield of the universe, the blood ancestor has been out of the quicksand magic domain and has been smashing there for years. Jian Wushuang has never been to the quicksand magic domain and naturally has no intersection with this blood ancestor. Although I have nothing to do with the blood ancestors, the leader of the ancestral dojo, Tianzu, has an extraordinary relationship with me. Jian Wushuang smiled heartily. You can complete the things I have told you and bring my death and the things I left to the blood ancestors. I am very grateful, not to mention that you have helped me to regain the status of the bloodlines. As for God Brother Zhu, it doesn't matter if you saw it. Shui Bai's voice was light. Yes, you just said that you also went to the battlefield of the universe. Then the star map I gave you before, the special time and space where the star map is, did you go? Shui Bai asked suddenly. Go. It is because of that special time and space that my strength will be improved by leaps and bounds. Of course, I also stayed in that special time and space for a total of 97,000 years, and speaking of it was a dead life. Sword unparalleled. What is there in that special time and space? Shui Bai couldn't wait to ask. At the beginning, he also entered the special time and space because of coincidence. He got some chances in that special time and space, but he didn't dare go too far. He just chose to leave halfway and didn't really come to those 10. On the high platform where the 8 musts are, naturally, the real secret of space and time is unknown. The reason why he originally handed the star map to Jian Wushuang also hoped that Jian Wushuang would go to that special time and space, and Jian Wushuang had indeed been there and returned alive. Chapter 3657. The second one is coming, and the third one will be later. That particular time and space has a long history. Jian Wushuang simply recounted his experiences in that special time and space. Not only was he trapped in that special time and space for 97,000 years, but also the scene when he saw Feng Mao after breaking through the 18th. However, although Jian Wushuang also mentioned that the special time and space is behind a cosmic overlord from the depths of the universe and a top supreme powerhouse, he did not tell Shui Bai about the name of that supreme. That is Lingyun Supreme. After all, he promised Feng Mao at first not to tell others about the special time and space, but now, even though he has already died, only a trace of consciousness remains. But Jian Wushuang still only said some blood north. It doesn't hurt to know. Suddenly, after learning from Jian Wushuang's mouth, Shui Bai couldn't help sighing after knowing that the special time and space was truly hidden. I guessed at the beginning that the special time and space is extraordinary. It must contain great opportunities and great opportunities. Now it seems that it is. But any chance is accompanied by a crisis. Jian Tianho, you were able to break through the 18 perfection that even the Dominator could do nothing. It was really amazing. It should be possible to get the chance. As for me, I was lucky. I'm smart enough to keep going. Otherwise, Shui Bai couldn't help shaking his head. When he first entered that special time and space for the first time, he looked forward to the opportunities in that special time and space, but fortunately, he felt an extremely scary sense of crisis in that special time and space. It was that sense of crisis stopped him and eventually chose to leave. And if he didn't stop, walked forward, and entered the trap of the high platform, then he must have died long ago. And it is absolutely impossible to leave the star map that went to that special time and space, the same special one. I'm afraid that there is nothing in sword and time. Mr. Shui Bai, I came to this secret place specially this time. In addition to giving you an answer, there is another thing. Jian Wushuang said positively, do you want to refine my Blood North secret? Blood North looked at Xiang Jianshuang. When the sword Wushuang got the chance to leave the Blood North mystery, he accounted for Jian Wushuang. If he breaks down and becomes the master of the rules in the future, he can come back and refine this Blood North mystery. Now Jian Wushuang has apparently just broken through and become the ruler, and the secret place of that day has not yet been opened. Yes, I want to refine this mystery. Jian Wushuang nodded. I'm curious. Xiuebei was surprised. You can now compete with the master. And with your strength, you can easily open up a secret world of your own, but it takes some time and energy, or if you really want to save time and refine the world of heaven and earth with your strength, you can also find a stronger and more powerful world of heaven and earth. Why are you still interested in my blood north? Well, it's true. I already have a better choice for the secret world, but the secret world is going to be refined, but it is very difficult. It requires some experience in refining, so I came here. The sword is unparalleled. You are refining my Blood North secret just to accumulate experience? Blood North frowned slightly. Yes, I hope you can do it, Mr. Xiuebei. Jian Wushuangdo. Xiuebei groaned for a moment, and then said, By the way, I am all dead. There is no use for this mystery. I originally intended to give it to you. As for how you use it, you need to refine it. And then it collapses on its own. It's all up to you, but Gu Lao here. Mr. Xiuebei, please rest assured that when I collapse the Blood Behind realm, I will leave a glimmer of life in the Blood Behind realm, and will also give Gu Lao a group of treasure resources that can be restored in a short time. Sword unparalleled. Just do it. Xiuebei was relieved. Gu Lao, I have no experience in the refining of this secret world. You are the spirit of the secret world, and I hope you can lead me. Jian Wushuang looked at the ancient glance next to him. My friend, although my secret world is considered to be the most common among many heaven and earth, but after all it is a world of heaven and earth. You have no previous experience in refining the world of heaven and earth, so even if I personally lead it, I want a mystery is completely refined. I am afraid it will take some time. Gu Lao Dao. Time is not a problem. It is not too late. Let's start. Jian Wushuang smiled. Immediately, Jian Wushuang, under the guidance of the ancient himself, began to refine the Blood North mystery. After a while, 3 years passed. In the past 3 years, Jian Wushuang, under the ancient guidance, gradually refined this Blood North mystery, and finally refined this Blood North mystery into his own world. It's done. Qi Jian Wushuang stood up, looking around the Blood North mystery that was completely under his control, and a smile appeared on his face. After refining the Blood North mystery, everything in the Blood North mystery will be in his charge. Even if he only needs a thought, the Blood North mystery can be completely contained in his body. At the same time, Jian Wushuang also found that he had more willpower. Alas, this willpower is weak and pathetic in the sight of the current sword, unparalleled. Too weak. I used to know a rule, at random. The power of will is much stronger than the power of will now. No wonder in the early world of God, few people choose to refine. After all, the secret world of others is not developed by oneself, and the power of will is too small. Unless it is such a huge and immortal as the sealed array, but it has formed a complete heaven and earth secret world. After refining, you can get great benefits. Jian Wushuang muttered, The mystery has been refined. Next, just a few more days of familiarity can make this mystery collapse by itself. Immediately, Jian Wushuang began to become familiar with the structure of this secret world. 20 days later, under the guidance of Jian Wushuang, this Blood North mystery began to collapse, and it directly collapsed to the extreme. When the share of willpower obtained by Jian Wushuang also completely collapsed and dissipated, Jian Wushuang stopped. At this moment, the Blood North mystery is actually a real death, but the spirit of the Blood North mystery, that is, Gu Lao, can barely exist. Jian Wushuang gave Gu Lao a group of treasures, allowing him to restore the mystery by himself, and the sword Wushuang himself left with Xiuebei, and Gu Lao and left for the fourth heaven. He has refined a secret world. With some experience, now he can try to refining the reseal method. Chapter 3658. Hey, the third is here. Previously, the Lord of Space and Time once took Jian Wushuang to the fourth sky, and Jian Wushuang knew where the only space passage to the fourth sky was. In addition, he himself had the dominance-level combat power and could open that space passage. He soon passed the space passage and reached the fourth sky again. In the fourth heaven, the Lord of Heaven and the Lord of Time and Space have been waiting for him. "What's the matter, boyfriend?" asked the leader of Zhan Tianming. "I have refined a heaven and earth mystery in accordance with Master S' request and accumulated some experience. Now I can begin to refine the seal circle." Jian Wushuangdo, "Hurry up, I can't wait any longer." The leader of the Celestial Alliance laughed. "Yes, Zhuani's masterpiece uses a special matrix to construct a complete heavenly circle. This is basically equivalent to a small astral circle. I'm curious if you can refine this small astral space into your own secret world. How much benefit will you get? Is it like the ruler of the very common rules, but also a power of will?" Said the Lord of Time and Space. "If refining this small astral world also obtains a willpower, then this willpower will definitely be very powerful. No matter what you can get, try it, and you will know." Jian Wushuang smiled, and then he walked directly towards the seal formation. When he came to the area around the seal circle, Jian Wushuang's consciousness immediately merged into the circle, awakening Zhuani's remnant soul. "Master." I looked at Xian Yi in front of me, Jian Wushuang respectfully saluting. "Have you ever refined a secret world?" Zhuani looked over. "Yes." Jian Wushuang nodded. "However, although I have refined a heaven and earth secret and accumulated some experience, this small astral world is completely incomparable with ordinary heaven and earth secrets. I still do know how to make it thoroughly refine. You don't need to worry about this. It took a lot of hard work for this small astral world. How could you be able to fully refine it overnight?" Zhuani smiled. "But as long as you have some experience in refinement in addition as a guide for teachers and teachers, it should be possible to refine this small astral world, but it will not take too short a time. Even if it is conservatively estimated, it will take thousands of years." "Last 1,000 years, nothing is too much." Sword Wushuangdo. "That's the case. Then let's get started. You must follow the steps I said. Don't be impatient, or you may suffer the crazy counterattack of this small world at any time," Zhuani told. The sword has no double focus." Immediately following the command of Xian Yi, Jian Wushuang swept directly into the seal formation and soon merged into the formation. To the naked eye, it seemed to be integrated with the formation. Within the martial arts circle, the sword sat cross-legged and had begun to refine this small astral world according to Xian Yi's instructions. Time also passed quietly. As Xian Yi said, this small astral world is so good that it is not an overnight thing to want to refine it. Even though Jian Wushuang has Zhuani's guidance, he can still be fully absorbed in the refining process. There must be no distraction at all, because the casual distraction will cause the former achievements to be abandoned, and they will be immediately counterattacked by the small astral plane. Once the small astral plane has counterattacked, even if it can bear it, it will definitely be uncomfortable, and it will bring great trouble to his subsequent refinement on the way to the small astral world of Jian Wushuang refining. The Lord of the Celestial Sect and the Lord of Time and Space have always guarded the fourth heaven to avoid unnecessary trouble. I blinked, and then passed 1,800 years. Seal inside the circle. It's only the last step, so be careful. Zhuani instructed. Yes, Qi Jian has no double focus, and his soul has moved toward the deepest part of the seal circle covered by a transparent white light. That white light looks pure and flawless, nothing strange. Under the guidance of Xian Yi, Jian Wushuang knew, but that white light is the most important thing in this small astral world, the heavenly will of this small astral world. Despite this, the Tao of the heaven is only just conceived and is in the nascent stage, although the will of heaven is far less tenacious than the will of heaven in the early days. But after all, it forms a complete heavenly cycle, and this heavenly will is still not easy to mess with. The reason why Jian Wushuang was careful in the process of refining before he did not dare to make the slightest mistake is that he was worried that the heavenly will at the birth stage would be vigilant so that he could not proceed to the next step. But now he has completed all the previous steps. Only this last step is to let this heaven will surrender. It has started. Wu Jian's eyes were dim. His soul's power had come into contact with the white light. He also felt the existence of Tao will that day, but when he was going to directly rely on his huge soul power to persuade the other to submit, he stumbled and found that the white light, which is Tao will that day, seemed to him there is nothing to resist. He is very tame and seems willing to listen to him. How can this be? Jian Wushuang surprised. Xian Yi smiled next to him. It seems that the Tao is more or less influenced by the teacher. Master, what is going on here? Jian Wushuang asked. It's very simple. This resealed law formation was originally created by myself. It can be said that I created this heavenly will, and when I created it, I added some of my will. In other words, the heavenly will you are touching now contains some of my will as a teacher, and I am your master, and of course you are close to you. This little guy may be affected by some of my will be so docile to you. Xianyi together. Is that so? Jian Wushuang knew it, but followed him and laughed. Since this little guy has no intention of resisting, this last step is the easiest for me. Jian Wushuang smiled. He contacted and communicated with the heavenly will in that white light. On that day, there was no resistance from the beginning to the end. Soon, Jian Wushuang took control of the heaven and earth will. Since then, this reseals the magic circle. This small astral world was finally refined by Jian Wushuang. In 1800 years, it's finally done. There is a thick surprise flashing in Wu Jian's eyes. At this moment, he has sensed the connection between himself and the reseal circle, and he can fully sense the existence of the seal circle. And just then, boom, there was a violent roar above the magpie, and the whole divine realm at the beginning of the primordial moment was trembling for a while. Chapter 36, 59, the first is here. On the fourth day, outside of the seal circle, the Lord of the Celestial Alliance and the Lord of Space and Time waited silently there. It's been 1,800 years, and I don't know if that sword Tianho has refined this seal array. This 1,800 years, we are all guarded here, and this seal law formation has not shown any movement during this 800 years' time, so it seems that Tianho Xiaoyu should not refine this seal law formation, it's right. They are all clear. The huge seal circle in front of them has formed a complete heavenly circle. If Jian Wushuang really refined this seal circle, then there is no movement at all. Since there is no movement now, it naturally indicates that Jian Wushuang has not yet can completely refine this seal. It is such a big seal, and it also forms a complete heavenly circle, which is equivalent to a small astral world. It is really not easy to refine your own heaven and earth. The leader of the Cut Sky Alliance said, but his words just came to an end. Boom! The heaven and earth roared, and the whole fourth heavy sky shuddered. The Lord of the heavens and the Temple of Time and Space were immediately alarmed, and the next time they both looked up, I saw above the endless void, rumbling. Sangtian seemed to be forcibly penetrated by people, and a huge dark void appeared out of thin air. The dark void was too large, completely covering the entire sky, and also covering the entire fourth sky. Then, from that dark hollow, whirling, the dazzling rays of light lit up, and a supreme rule came slowly. This rule is too aloof and supreme. The most important thing is that the law of Advent seems to be able to represent everything in the heavens and the earth. Its advent has instantly stopped the entire heavenly cycle of the heavens in the early days. This is the law of the universe. The Lord of the heavens and the Lord of time and space realized the law of coming down from the dark hollow above, and both of them showed an incredible expression. The law of the universe, the vast universe, the heavenly cycle, the supreme law. This law represents the operation of the universe and everything in the universe. He is like the divine world in the early days, but it is just an astral world born from the vast universe. This astral world is like a life and has its own heavenly will, but it must operate in accordance with the laws of the universe, is formulated by the law of the universe, and countless astral and heavenly wills in the universe must obey and operate. So, the law of the universe is paramount. Now, what the Lord of the heavens and the Lord of time and space did not expect is that the laws of the universe would come down in person. It's gigantean, ho. It must be him, and it has led to the law of the universe. The master of the heavens alliance shivered. Yes, this dark void is covered above the quadruple sky, and the law of the universe is clearly coming towards our fourth sky. In this fourth sky, the only thing that can cause the law of the universe to come is necessarily only Tian Ho Xiaoyu. The Lord of time and space also widened his eyes. He stared at the coming universe law. Sure enough, after the advent of the universe law, they went directly to the position of Jian Wushuang, the huge seal law formation in front of them. The law of the universe finally landed on the resealed law formation and entered the seal law formation for the first time, enveloping Sword Wushu directly. Wu Jianwushuang still closed his eyes. At this moment, he has completely refined the seal law formation. After refining, the movement that caused him was never thought of, especially the advent of the law of the universe. When the law of the universe came upon him, Jian Wushuang only felt that his body was shocked, and then the whole person could not move. Although he could not move, he could feel the existence of the cosmic laws around him and a warm feeling. What is this? Jian Wushuang looked surprised. Xuani, standing next to him, also flashed unprecedented light in his eyes. The law of the universe is indeed the law of the universe. Ha ha, God bless me too early. Xian laughed. I have heard that in the vast universe, if there are practitioners who have achieved some incredible achievements, they will be recognized by the laws of the universe. And at the same time, the laws of the universe will come down in person and give this practitioner great benefits. I used to think that this was just a legend, but I didn't expect it to be true. And after you refine this reseal array, you will be recognized by the laws of the universe. This is definitely luck and unprecedented opportunity. Hearing Xuani's laughter, Jian Wushuang is unknown, but he understands that the coming of the law of the universe at this moment is definitely a good thing for him. Little guy, the coming of the law of the universe, this is definitely a great creation for you. Don't just sit back and feel these laws of the universe. This will be very beneficial to your future practice. Xianyi said, Sword had no double focus, and then he became fully absorbed and began to realize the law of the universe has come. Even though it is only on the fourth heaven, this movement is still incredible. At the beginning of the divine realm, in the core triple heaven, countless practitioners can sense the meditation at this moment, and a supreme law exists. At this moment, countless practitioners have a thought that they can't help but worship. the entire triple sky is in a state of silence because of the advent of the law of the universe, in the old nest of the three sacred realms in the magnificent hall, from the three masters of the magic cloud star. At this moment, his complexion is unprecedented. What does it feel like? The tall man frowned. This supreme rule of breath. Even if I am the master, I can't help but want to kneel down as if he is the master in the underworld. Isn't this? The boy Yen Hafa vaguely guessed something. The pupils also narrowed. At this time, the Lord of Life and Death, one of the three lords of the three sacred realms, rushed in respectfully. Three adults. The master told us that just now the law of the universe has come down in person. The law of the universe. The tall man and the evil young man were taken aback. Sure enough, Tong Yenha made the old man take a breath. The supreme law of the universe, the operation of the universe. All rules are formulated by the law of the universe. Countless astral circles in the vast universe are also affected and constrained by this universal law. Such a supreme existence, even as strong as the supreme, no one can spy on it, but today it will come to this pre-God world. What is the reason for this? Tong Yenha made the old man low. Master, the master has already said that the law of the universe is coming to the fourth heaven, and that sword heaven is now in the fourth heaven. The Lord of Life and Death suddenly said. Chapter 3660. Hey, the second is here. What did you say? The words of the Lord of Life and Death made all three masters stand up. The law of the universe is coming because of the sword heaven. The tall man's voice was low. How high is the law of the universe? And even the supreme strong can't lead the law of the universe to come. How can this sword be the heaven and earth? The evil charm youth also said, does the Lord know? What did the sword's celestial soldiers do in order to let the law of the universe come? Tong Yenha made the old man look down. Why did the law of the universe come? The master didn't know it. The Lord of Life and Death shook his head. The master said that although he dominated the heavenly will of the early gods, this matter was about the law of the universe. From the moment the law of the universe came, in the beginning, the heavenly ways of the divine realm have stagnated. He can't touch the fourth heaven at all now, and he only inferred that the coming of the universe law followed this because he knew that Jian Tianho was on the fourth heaven, and now that the law of the universe also came on the fourth heaven, Jian Tianho is related. The Lord of the demon clouds, although it dominates the heavenly will of the early gods, but the heavenly will of a starry world is nothing in front of the laws of the universe. The law of the universe has already come. During this period, there is no of the early gods. What's wrong with Jia Tiando's will? In that case, we don't know what method the sword heavens have used to make the laws of the universe come. Tall Man said, no matter what method he uses, but since it can cause the law of the universe to come down in person, it is absolutely different. Tong Yenha said the old man, solemnly. The master also said that the law of the universe is coming. It's not a trivial matter. And that sword might have huge benefits from the law of the universe. So the master wants you three to be able to keep the three holy realms as much as possible. To find out exactly why the sword heaven and earth caused the law of the universe, but also to understand what he got from the law of the universe. Finally, the master also said that, in the beginning, the world of God would come to the law of the universe, which caught his attention. He would understand the events in the magic cloud star as soon as possible, and then came over in person. Adult is coming over in person. The three masters are all. They are very clear about the situation of the Lord of the Clouds. Under normal circumstances, the Lord of the Clouds will not leave the Lord of the Clouds at this time. But now, it seems that it is because of the law of the universe that the Lord of the Clouds will be against the sword. Tianho really took it seriously. We already know what you said. Go on." The tall man waved. The Lord of Life and Death immediately bowed and retreated. After the Lord of Life and Death left, Master Xingzhu wants us to find a way to understand the purpose of the coming of the law of the universe and what the sword heaven has got in the law of the universe. How do these two think? Tong Yanhifa, the old man, looked around at the two people around him. What do you think? The tall man pouted his lips. Even before, we thought that the sword Tianho had broken through to reach the rule master, and the combat power was comparable to the master. But as long as the three of U.S. joined forces, even in this early world, we can also confront him, even suppress him. But now he actually caused the law of the universe to come. Then all this is impossible. Yes, the law of the universe never came easily. Now that he has come, the sword heaven must have benefited a lot from the law of the universe, and the strength is likely to make a big breakthrough. Now, the three of us even together, I'm afraid it's not his opponent anymore. The evil charm youth said, "That's it. The three of us are probably not their opponents." How do we figure out those things? At best, we can only do our best to force him to show his whole cards. Tong Yenha, said the old man, "We can only do this." The other two nodded. Before the three of them were unparalleled in swords, they were also full of confidence. I think that even in the early world of the gods, the strength of the three of them is very limited, but as long as they work together, they can easily suppress Jian Wushuang. But now they dare not think so. After all, the sword unparalleled has caused the law of the universe. In addition, the advent of the law of the universe also caused the Lord of the Clouds to really pay attention to the sword warriors, and even after a short while, the deity will come to himself. This is definitely something that the sword warriors did not expect. Of course, Jian Wushuang didn't know this either. He is still under the cover of the laws of the universe. The law of the universe is covered by him, and to experience the law of the universe at such a close distance, this is too great for Jian Wushuang. He is also the first time to come into contact with this supreme power. Although the process is very short, in this short period of time, he has benefited too much. Finally, the laws of the universe have disappeared. The dark void in the uppermost void has slowly converged, and the whole world has returned to peace. In the seal formation, Jian Wushuang still sat there, but his face was a little surprised. "Little guy, what's the harvest?" "Xian, Yichao." Jian Wushuang looked over. After hearing Zuanyi's words, Jian Wushuang was awakened and said, "The harvest is great. After all, this is a deeper power than the rules. Although this power is beyond my grasp at this time, I have no idea about it. Strength has at least some general impressions, and it will definitely be easier to realize it in the future. Novel. Come, that's it. You are too weak now, and you can't supreme the laws of the universe. The power of the universe alone is very high for you, but once you are strong, you will start to really touch the universe's origin. When you realize the origin of the universe, what you see today and what you feel today is very useful to you." Xianyi smiled. Wu Jinshuang also smiled and nodded. He knew very well how much help he would have in the future in the short period of time. Yes, the coming of the law of the universe will inevitably give you a lot of things. What are they? Xuanyi asked. First is a willpower. Jian Wushuangdo. Willpower? Xianyi nodded slightly. You refine this seal formation into your own secret world, and you will definitely get a willpower. But since this willpower is given by the laws of the universe, it must be very rude. It is very arrogant and unique. Like the general willpower, the power given is fixed, but the willpower given by the law of the universe is different. This willpower is completely based on my own power. If it can be decided, it can directly double my own power. Jian Wushuangdo, Chapter 36, 61. The first is here. directly doubled. Xian Yi looked at Jian Wushuang in wonder. Like me now, although it is only the master of the rules, but because of the perfect level of life, the divine power that I can explode is not weaker than the ordinary primary master. And if I perform mystery and celestial magic, then my divine power is 3 times that of the primary master. But now, with this willpower given by the laws of the universe, my divine power can be doubled again on the basis of 3 times the primary domination. That is, 6 times the full, 6 times the primary domination. Divine power. This is already more tyrannical than many higher masters. Jian Wushuangdo, the primary master and the higher master, in terms of divine power alone, the difference is not too big. Before Jian Wushuang could explode 3 times the primary master power, it was close to the high master. The willpower given by the law of the universe can double his divine power again, which is equivalent to 6 times the power of the primary master. This kind of divine power is indeed very arrogant among the higher masters. Already, yes, it is indeed the willpower given by the laws of the universe. It is indeed much stronger than the ordinary willpower. Xian Yi smiled. It is very strong. And this willpower is changed according to my own divine power. That is, as my strength increases, the divine power continues to increase. But this willpower helps my overall strength, but will not weaken at all. Jian Wushuang smiled. Apart from the power of will, has the law of the universe given you anything else? Xuan Yi looked at it again. Yes. The sword has no double emphasis. In addition to this willpower, the law of the universe has given me a unique mystery, to be precise, a gift of magic. Talented. Xian Yi's eyes brightened, and he smiled. It really is a talented supernatural power. Master, have you guessed it? Jian Wushuang surprised. It's not that I guess. I just entered the mysterious area by chance when I was smashing in the 3 battlefields, and I got an ancient supreme part of the memory in that secret area. And in that part of the memory, there was about the universe. The law comes down to something. After a pause, Xian Yi continued. In the vast universe, the laws of the universe rarely come, but as long as it comes and comes to a practitioner, that practitioner will get immense benefits. And most of the time, the laws of the universe will give each other a unique talent, which is also based on the special conditions achieved by the practitioner himself. It's like you are now refining a secret world comparable to a small astral world. That's no surprise. The talents given to you by the laws of the universe are bound to have a lot to do with this small astral world. Yes, Sword Wushuang smiled. The gift of magic given to me by the laws of the universe, called the primitive universe, is based on the small astral universe I am refining at the core to form a primitive universe covering everything around it. In this primitive universe, within, my strength will be greatly improved. However, this gift of magical powers must be limited. It can only be performed once every 12 hours, that is, 1 day, and each time it can only last for 10 breaths. After being given the laws of the universe, Jian Wushuang already has a certain understanding of this talented supernatural power he has obtained. Primitive universe is undoubtedly an extremely powerful talent, but because it is powerful, it has many restrictions. Every gifted magical power has some limitations, let alone the gifted magical power given by the laws of the universe. Although your gifted magical power is overbearing, the rules of the universe will certainly not allow you to use it unbridled. Xian Yi said, "That's it." Jian Wushuang nodded. "Anyway, this time the law of the universe comes. You will make a lot of money. This is all thanks to the master." Jian Wushuang is grateful. It is true that this small astral world was originally prepared for him by Xian Yi, and the law of the universe also came because he refined this small astral world into his own secret world. In other words, the advent of the laws of the universe, including the endowment of him, is actually largely due to his master's credit. I'm dead. The only thing I can do now is to provide you with as much opportunity as possible, but what I can give you now is really not much, apart from this small astral world. The only thing I have left is that town monument. However, Zenshinbai, after all, is the ultimate treasure above the strongest treasure. Such treasures may be dazzled even by the supreme strongman. Although he received a statue for the teacher at the beginning, the follow-up refinement, but it took a long time and energy to succeed, and the refinement of this town's Tianbei can't help you as a teacher. You can only work hard. Xianyi together. Disciple understand. Jian Wushuang nodded. Well, this small astral world has been refined by you. Everything I can give you is also given. There is no need for my lingering soul. Little guy, you are the only one in my early world. Yes, it is the last glimmer of hope. I have prepared so much for you carefully. Then you must succeed in the last step. Wu Shuani took a deep look at Jian Wushuang. His body has begun to dissipate slowly. Grateful master. Qi Jian's face is cold and stern, and watching his master's last trace of remnants dissipate. Although he has grief in his heart, he is more determined. He knows that his teacher paid too much for him, and he could not repay him for his generosity. And the only thing he can do is to make his master truly aimless. And there is only one thing, that is, to complete what his master did not do that year, and to take back the divine realm from the hands of the Lord of the Devil and the Cloud. That step, he must reach it. At last, Zuanyi's body completely dissipated, but Jian Wushuang still stood there, watching where his master disappeared, and then exhaled heavily. I have been refining the seal formation, and the seven-star divine realm within this seal formation is naturally under my control. Jian Wu's eyes narrowed, his thoughts moved, and he instantly nurtured through this small astral world. On that day, the will to see the entire seven-star divine realm completely. Sure enough, the subsequent evolution of the seven-star divine realm is completely imitated by the universe. Jian Wushuang secretly said, "The seven-star divine realm was once a territory of the early divine realm and a complete continent, but it is completely different now." Chapter 3662. Hey, the second is here. Qi Jian Wushuang was born in this seal circle. He knew the scene here naturally. In his era, this territory was no longer called the seven-star divine realm, but was called the chaotic world of all ages. The chaotic world of all ages has undergone 3 epochs since its birth and evolution. The first is the ancient era. This ancient era is actually the era when the seven-star god realm had not collapsed. At that time, the seven-star god realm was still a part of the Taiji god realm, but because of that battle, the seven-star god realm collapsed, leaving behind Ancient on the battlefield. The seven-star god realm was completely isolated by the sealed formation. Since then, this territory has evolved under the operation of that law formation, and has since evolved into the first era. The first era experienced a long period of time and eventually collapsed. And then the second era, that is, the era where Jian Wushuang was. In his time, the seven-star realm was not a whole long ago, but was composed of countless elder worlds. These elder worlds are actually equivalent to the world stars in the vast universe. The operating law and evolution of the entire chaotic world of ancient times does seem to have been largely simulated in accordance with the cycle of the universe. It's just that the chaotic world of eternity just imitates a model. The supremacy of the vast universe is the law of the universe, but there is nothing in the eternal chaos world. After completely refining the seal array, Jian Wushuang also found that this territory, which is the time flow rate of the ancient chaotic world, is completely different from the outside world. The flow rate of the ancient chaotic world is much faster than the outside world, and it opens many times. Wu Jianzhou estimated that the time flow rate of the ancient chaotic world should be equivalent to 100 times the outside world. In other words, a year has passed in the early world of the gods, but in the chaotic world of all ages, a whole 100 years have passed. Time flow rate of 100 to 1. Jian Wushuang was suddenly shocked. I have been in the early world of the gods for more than 100,000 years. Then, in the chaotic world of ancient times, wouldn't it be more than 1,000 times past? Long live! More than 10 million years. At the thought of this number, Jian Wushuang was anxious immediately. For more than 10 million years, what a long period of time. He has left so long. What will this eternal chaotic world become? His hometown, what about Qinghua? I also have his parents, his relatives, his friends. Have they been there for more than 10 million years? Jian Wushuang's heart suddenly felt anxious. He didn't hesitate. He immediately looked through the heavenly will to look at the entire chaotic world of eternity. He sees everything in the chaotic world of all ages. He saw the innumerable elder world in the chaotic world of eternity, and at the same time saw the core of the eternal chaos world, where the sacred places are, where it is still the most prosperous and most powerful place in the eternal chaos world. But what makes the sword unparalleled is that the quality of the practitioners in those several holy places is indeed much higher than in other places, but the most powerful men, such as the masters of the few holy places, are called in the chaotic world of ancient times. There is no great emperor. As the most central place in the chaotic world of all ages, under normal circumstances, those who are at the level of the emperor should gather there. Even if it is impossible to have all of them, at least there are a few, but none of them. This is too abnormal. Where have all those great emperors gone? Baidi, Zhuyo Shengzhu, Tianqian ancestor. None of them? Jian Wushuang was even more puzzled inside. He is in control of the heavenly will of the ever-changing world of chaos, and continues to look towards the margins. Soon he found the place where he was born, which is the largest ancient battlefield, and the huge, incredible head. That head is the head of his master Junyi, and in the position of the eyebrow of that head, there is the blue fire world. The green fire world was born from the essence of Xian Yi's life. This skull is really too big. I once again saw the huge skull in the ancient battlefield. Jian Wushuang's heart still couldn't help but marvel. When he saw the skull for the first time, he was completely frightened, and the shock in his heart was unprecedented. But later, as he learned more about his master and became a perfect life, he subconsciously felt that as long as his strength reached the level of his master, he could also enlarge his body infinitely. And he could also have his master had such a huge body and head. But as he became more and more powerful, especially now when he is fully capable of dominating the battle, he understands that even if he is the perfect life, and the strength reaches a level comparable to his master, he cannot have his division. Zun Xuanyi, such an incredible deity. Because Jian Wushuang has already seen, the reason why Xuanyi's deity is so large is mainly because he has cultivated a unique mystery. Jain mysticism should be able to make your body infinite so that you can increase your combat power. And this mysticism should be from the universe battlefield. In addition, although the mystery that allows your body to be infinitely enlarged will have a certain increase in your strength, it will also have disadvantages. So for this mystery, Sword Wushuang has nothing to ask for. Green Fire World. Qi Jian Wushuang has locked his eyes on that green world. Qinghua World, that is his root. And after tens of millions of years, the Qinghua World still exists in that ancient battlefield. And because of the evolution of tens of millions of years, the current Qinghua territory is significantly wider than before. It almost occupied the entire forehead of that skull. In the green world, Jian Wushuang also felt the breath of countless practitioners. There are many breaths of those practitioners, all of which he is extremely familiar with. Father, mother! Wu Jian's double body trembled. He has sensed the existence of his parents in the Qinghua world. Although it has been a lifetime, it has been tens of millions of years in the middle, but the two breaths are still familiar to him. Warm, just a little stronger than before. It's not just them. They are also the boss of Wang Yuan and the fourth child, as well as the Sword One, the King of Kings, and the high-level leaders of the Qinghua world. White Emperor, Lord Jiuyou, Tianqian ancestors. These great emperors, I have to lie in those sacred places. It turned out that they all came to my Qinghua world. And yes, now Qing in the fire world, the abundance of spiritual power is definitely the highest in the chaotic world of ancient times. Even if compared with the early world of the gods, the difference is not too far away. Of course, these great emperors will choose to stay here. Wu Jianshou smiled. And then he couldn't help himself anymore, and went to the fire world himself. Chapter 36:63. The first is here. Qinghua World, Wushuang Holy City. After a lapse of more than 10 million years, the sacred city of Wushuang is still the cultivation, holy place that countless practitioners aspire in Qinghua. Huihong Manor, on the grass, two people sat on the ground. Two of them. One of them is not only a haplotype, but also quite a bit plump at first glance. It looks like a small hill fell there. Another person is a beautiful young girl wearing black clothes with a bit of weakness. This young girl looks weak, but the coldness emanating from her body is enough to make countless practitioners awe. These two are Wang Yuan and Su Rou. Boring this day, it's getting more and more boring. Wang Yuan held a hip flask in his hand and drank it there. Don't you have a chamber of commerce under your hands? The Chamber of Commerce is now the first chamber of commerce recognized in the world of chaos in the ancient times. So a huge industry will naturally have countless things. By reason, you should be very busy. How could it be so boring? Su Rou looked over. You do know. My Chamber of Commerce has long given it to others to manage. I usually eat, drink, and have fun all day long, but all these years have passed. I am tired of what I can play. What I want to get, I've got it for a long time. In my life, I haven't pursued anything. Without it, I will be bored naturally. By the fourth, I heard that there wasn't an emperor pursuing you crazy some time ago. What happened? Wang Yuan asked. What do you say? Su Rou gave Wang Yuan an angry look. It seems you still didn't like it. Wang Yuan frowned. Yes, an emperor is indeed not qualified to be your priest. At least he must be an emperor. God emperor. If it was placed tens of millions of years ago, in the era when Jian Wushuang was still there, God emperor is definitely the top power in the chaotic world of all ages, second only to great emperor, and then tens of millions of years will pass. By now, because of the relationship between the green world, there are many more powerful people born in the chaotic world of ancient times. Qiu Guang is the great emperor, and there are a lot of them. As for the God emperor, there are even more countless. If it was NT because of the chaotic world of ancient times, the strongest practitioners are only at the level of the emperor. I am afraid that there will be a lot more than the existence of the emperor. And Su Rou, as a sword brother and sister of worship, was already the top powerhouse and one of the powers in the Qinghua world thousands of years ago, and now her strength has already reached the chaotic world of ancient times. The highest level exists, and the power in his hand is even more monstrous. A divine emperor in Liziu district was indeed not seen by her. But my fourth child, it's been over tens of millions of years. My wife has taken hundreds of them. As for my children and grandchildren, I don't know how many generations, but you are still alone. This is a bit too lonely. In my opinion, if you have a chance, you should find someone who looks good to the eye and make it. Wang Yuan said. I heard Su Yuan's words. Su Ro looked slightly but did not speak. Suddenly Wang Yuan said, Number 4, you won't be until now. Are you still waiting for number 3? I heard the title of Lao San. Su Rao's expression changed immediately. What are you talking about? I didn't say it blindly. At that time, I saw that your feelings for the third child are not as simple as those of your brother and sister, but unfortunately the third child has only regarded you as a younger sister, and he is also a dedicated person. Now that you have identified the cold princess of Datong, you will never change it again. So when your brother advises you, don't think about the third child anymore, and find someone who looks good to live. Wang Yuan Dao. My own business. I will handle it myself. Su Judao. Wang Yuan shrugged, and didn't say more on this issue, but sighed lightly. It's been over 10 million years since the third man left the chaotic world of eternity, and I don't know where he is now. Well, seriously, I really miss the scene where our 4 siblings made wine and joy, but unfortunately the second child died, and the third child left. Only the 2 of us are still here, living a boring day, nor know when it's had. If you think it's boring to live, tell me, I can complete you. Su Judao. Wu Wanyuan could only smile dumbly. And just then, Boss Wang Yuan, the 4th child. A sudden sound of excitement sounded inside the manor. Both Wang Yuan and Su Rao's bodies shook. Wang Yuan, boss. Wang Yuan's head was a little cyanotic, because Boss Wang Yuan's entire name in the present chaotic world. Only Su Ro calls him this way, and when Su Ro is in a good mood, he will call him this way. But now Su Ro is in front of him, then the person who now calls him the boss Wang Yuan will be Old Third. Wang Yuan looked at the figure in front of him in amazement. Boss, really you? Su Ro also stunned. Haha, why can't you 2 recognize me? Jian Wushuang smiled. Looking at Wang Yuan and Su Ro in front of her, Jian Wushuang was also very excited. You know, these 2 are his best brother and 4 sisters. At the beginning, they worshipped together, suffered together, experienced life and death together, and their relationship, even after tens of millions of years, has not weakened at all. And now I see again, Jian Wushuang's heart is also full of emotion. Haha, my 3rd son, you are finally back. Wang Yuan finally confirmed that the person in front of him was indeed Jian Wushuang, and he was also laughing, and gave Jian Wushuang a bear hug immediately after dreaming. Jian Wushuang did not resist, and at the same time pulled the next old Su together. The 3 were directly held together, and Su Ro was just held by Jian Wushuang in his left arms. She was embraced by Sword Wushuang. Su Ro did not resist at all, and her face was even more shy. If you let the practitioners in the Qinghua world see Su Rao's expression, she will be surprised because Su Ro in the weekdays, but the ice goddess recognized in Qinghua world, is not only powerful, high profile, but extremely majestic. After saying a word, countless gods and emperors all had worship, and such a goddess of ice and snow, even when there is a moment of shame. Woohoo! I took a deep breath, and the 3 swordsmen finally separated. Boss, what's going on? Where have you been all these years? Why have you been there for so long? Wang Yuanlian asked. He didn't know the specific whereabouts of Jian Wushuang. He only learned some things from Baidi, and knew that Jian Wushuang was still alive, but where did they go? In fact, they didn't know much. In recent years, he and Su Ro have been extremely worried about the sword unparalleled. Chapter 36-64. Hey, the second is here. I'll talk about it later. I have just returned now and haven't had time to see my parents. Jian Wushuangdo. Yes, Pepsi is the first. You should go to see your parents first, but they are not in the city of Wushuang. Wang Yuan said, I know where they are. Jian Wushuang smiled. He is now the real master of this chaotic world of eternity. He knows every move in the chaotic world of eternity. Where his parents are, he certainly knows. Let us go. First see my parents, Boss Wang Yuan. You will tell me the high-level powerhouses in the Qinghua world to let them come to Wushuang Holy City. When I return, I will meet them and explain something. Jian Wushuangdo. Okay, I'll arrange it immediately. Wang Yuan nodded. Wu Jianso quickly set out to where his parents were. After the sword Wushuang left, Wang Yuan and Su Rou were still very excited. 10 millions of years, the third child, he finally came back. Wang Yuan excitedly said, "The fourth child, I haven't seen a smile on your face for a long time. Today, the third child returned. You smiled immediately, and smiled it's not ordinary happiness." Suru gave Wang Yuan a white look, but the surprise on his face couldn't be hidden anyway. Later, Wang Yuan informed the high-level powerhouses in Qinghua world as Jian Wushuang said. King Wuji, at the foot of a towering mountain, there is a small town named Qingshan Town. All the residents of Qingshan Town make jade for a living. The whole town is quiet and peaceful, without outside disputes and killings. It seems very abrupt in the practice world where the strong are the most respected. In the town, there is a couple who have lived in this town for hundreds of years. Inside Tachijai House, "Ma'am, if people in the town go to the city to sell jade again, let me go with the uncle. From our Qingshan town to the nearest town, the road is not close, and the bandits are inevitable. You can take care of it with your uncle," said a young man in black, about 20. Hearing the words of the young man in black, the couple in front of the table looked at each other with a smile, and the woman said, "It is because of danger that I will not let you go." "Why? Is it because I'm too weak? But I've been training with people in the town for years, and I've developed a lot of strength, and my sword skills are very good. Even the coaches in the town boast I am very talented in kendo. Now, if I encounter a bandit, there is absolutely nothing wrong with my life. Even with good luck, I can kill a few bandits." The youth in black, the daughter-in-law, smiled bitterly, and the man with the stigma of Hujia next glanced at the young man in black and said lightly, "Okay, next time you go with me, it's better to go outside to see the world more. It's better to stay there all the time. This mountain is much stronger." "Ha, okay, Uncle, Aunt, then he'll go to practice first." After speaking, the young man in black walked out of the house happily and went to school in the town to practice. After the couple in the squatter house saw the young man in black leave, the woman sighed. "Nantian, do you think this child looks like our twins?" It's very similar, the same filial piety, the same dissatisfaction, not bowing to fate, and working very hard. Even the talent in kendo is really very good," said the man who kept sighing, "Hoo-hoo." This couple is really Jian Jianshuang's parents, Jian Nantian and Ji Wuming. As for the young man in black, it was a little guy named Yi Chen who accidentally rescued 10 years ago. For the past 10 years, this Yi Chen and they have been living in this small town, and they have lived a carefree life. This Yi Chen works very hard, and the kendo talent is also extremely high, but he has inherent defects, which has led to continuous cultivation. Nothing on the talent of kendo, he is very high. I have seen his progress in kendo over the years. Unfortunately, this little guy cannot cultivate. Otherwise, I would like to accept him as a disciple. Jianan Tiandao. Nantian, is there really no way for this little guy's constitution? Ji Wuming asked. No way. Jian Nantian shook his head. I have been thinking of various ways in the past 10 years, and even asked the top emperors of the chaos world, including Baidi, but no one was able to ask this little guy making changes. It can be said that it is almost impossible for this little guy to cultivate in the future. Well, then you really have to suffer this little guy. Ji Wuming sighed softly. He is clearly suffering from blood and deep revenge, but he is unable to retaliate. He has been suppressing his hatred to the bottom of his heart for many years. If this continues for a long time, I'm afraid he will not be able to bear it, Nantian. Or should we tell him his true identity and help him get revenge? No. Jian Nantian waved his hand directly. This little guy has a kind of indomitability in his bones. He will never bow his head easily. We now reveal his identity to him and tell him that his physique can't be changed in any way. The blow to him is absolutely unprecedented and may even cause him to collapse completely. And now we are hiding him, at least letting him have a bit of hope for himself so that he can live. As for his hatred, I will let him report it in due course. Oh, that's the only way. Wuming sighed softly. Although they have only been together for 10 years, Wuming Yichen really hopes because he saw the shadow of Jian Wushuang in Yichen. In this decade, she almost treated Yichen as her own biological, treated by the sun. But after all, Yichen is not a sword warrior, so they hide Yichen from many things, including their identity, at this moment. Jian Nantian frowned. Suddenly, Yanji no dream, Lu, Mei also clustered slightly. The two of them have sensed that a large group of people are approaching this town, and they are aggressive, and several of them still have the impression that they were the ones who hunted down Yichen. This little guy's enemies came to the door. Jian Nantian said softly, "How do those people know this little guy will be in this town?" Ji Wuming frowned. "I don't know, but since they have already come here, then I am afraid and I want to hide their identity in front of that little fellow. Maybe it is impossible." Jian Nantian sighed softly. "Since it will be exposed sooner or later, I simply confess to the little guy today, hoping that the little guy will be stronger in the heart and able to sustain it." Ji Wuming said nothing. Soon, the couple left the wooden house and came to the school ground where Yichen cultivated. Yichen was still working the school ground at the moment, but he couldn't gather a trace of spiritual power, but he gained a brute force, and the sword technique he performed was extremely good. Chapter 36:65. The first is here. I can't help thinking of Schwanger when I see this little guy. Ji Wuming looked at Yichen in the school ground softly. Yeah, I don't know when Schwanger will come back. Jian Nantian also sighed. Suddenly, a figure appeared without any warning, appeared on the school ground, and appeared in front of Jian Nantian and Ji Wuming. Jian Nantian and Ji Wuming were shocked. Nantian, I seem to see Schwanger. Am I dazzled? Ji Wuming dare not give up. I saw him too. Jian Nantian also widened his eyes. At the moment, Jian Wushuang appeared, looking at Jian Nantian and Ji Wuming in front of him. He felt guilt, self-blame, and thought in his heart, and could no longer control it. Wu Jianshou knelt down, and knelt heavily on the ground of the school ground. Parents, mother, both children are back. Jian Wushuang said, his voice choked. 2 children? Are you really our 2 children? Jian Nantian and Ji Wuming have stepped forward, looking at the person kneeling in front of them, even though thousands of years have passed, but the appearance of Jian Wushuang and the breath on their bodies, they can recognize it at a glance. This is indeed their son, Jian Wushuang. Boy, it really is you. Jian Nan Tianxiang suppressed his inner excitement. Li Mang reached out and raised the sword unparalleled. Get up, let Lao Tzu take a good look. Jian Wushuang got up, while Jian Nantian and Ji Wuming kept looking at Jian Wushuang up and down. No change from before. Good boy, you can let me wait with your mother. Jian Nantian finally smiled. Just come back. Ji Wuming said softly. Her face was already full of tears. The family was incomplete from the beginning. In the past, it was Ji Wuming who separated from their father and son, and in order to make the family full, Jian Wushuang and Jian Nantian have put in countless efforts, especially Jian Nantian, who experienced a lifetime of death before finally killing him. Heaven was absolutely sharp and rescued Ji Wuming. After a short while, their family had a short reunion. Sun Kes good times are not long, Sword Wushuang reincarnation, went to the early world of God. This go is a full 10 million years. The tens of millions of years of separation, as the parents of Jian Nantian and Ji Wuming, how rich the thoughts and worries are. But now, Jian Wushuang is finally back. No matter how much thoughts and worries were before, now that you are back, everything is fine. Uncle, madam. The snoring sounded, and Yi Chun, who practiced swordplay on the school field, ran over. Qi Jian Wushuang appeared on the school ground. And the next move has long attracted everyone's attention, including Yi Chun naturally. Is it the son you have been worried about? Yi Chun looked at Jian Wushuang. He has been with Jian Nantian and Ji Wuming for 10 years. He also often heard Jian Nantian and Ji Wuming mention Jian Wushuang. He also knew that Jian Nantian and Ji Wuming had such a son, but they left a long time ago, went to a far, far place, and there has been no news in these years. Schwanger, let me introduce you. This is Yi Chun, a little guy we adopted. Ji Wuming said, as the only son of uncle and uncle, they have not been around uncle, and there is no news at all. You are really filial when you worry about uncle and uncle for so long. Yi Chun glanced at Jian Wushuang with a hint of reproach in his words. After living for 10 years with Jian Nantian and Ji Wuming, he also regarded Jian Nantian and Ji Wuming as their parents. He knew that his parents had been worrying about Jian Wushuang all these years. Now, when he sees Jian Wushuang, he must of course blame one or two on your parents. Yi Chun, don't talk nonsense. Ji Wuming frowned. Ma'am, all that I said is true. Yi Chun said. Hearing Yi Chun's reproach, Jian Wushuang was not a little angry. He knew Yi Chun was right. I have been away for tens of millions of years, and I have no news at all. Wouldn't my parents be worried? Schwanger, Yi Chun's child, is only 20 years old and very immature. What he said, don't care. Ji Wuming said, relax, mother, I won't mind, and this little guy is also very interesting. Jian Wushuang smiled and took a special look at Yi Chun. Little guy, I can see that there is a very hidden thing in your body. Strong hatred. If I guessed right, you should have deep blood and hatred, and no accident, people who come outside the town should come to you. People outside the town? Yi Chun's face changed. Oh, it's here. Jian Wushuang smiled, and then turned to look at the void ahead. There were nearly 100 people rushing forward in the dense crowd. These nearly 100 people were almost the level of true gods. There was no one above the prince. In the eyes of Jian Wushuang, even cricket ants were not counted, but for the green world, especially to the territory where Qingshan town is located, the true is definitely a top powerhouse. Nearly 100 people are all true gods. This lineup is quite amazing. Seeing the arrival of nearly 100 people, Yi Chun's complexion immediately became difficult to look at because he recognized at a glance that these people were the people who ruined his family and the people who were killed, including the head of the people. He has also met is that remnant of the Yi family in this town. Among the nearly 100 people, the head is a young man with blue hair. The blue-haired old man had a cold face. His eyes were cold with a touch of coldness, and his tone of speech also carried a high attitude. The voice was spreading throughout Qingshan town. Hearing his voice, he felt the terrible breath of these people, and many residents in Qingshan town showed their horror. They know very well that these people who are here now, I am afraid that any one of them will be able to make them fleeing. Master, right here in this town, I have already seen him slightly right there. There was a true who said respectfully beside the old man with blue hair, and at the same time he reached out and pointed to Yichun, the schoolyard below. Oh, I was there. I haven't seen it in 10 years, but I grew up a lot. But this is the same as before. I can't make any progress. Now that he has found it, he will kill him directly and take his body back. As for this town, wipe it out. Yes, the real gods behind him took command and planned to take a shot. Slow. A low-pitched noise suddenly sounded, and Yichun looked a little embarrassed. He raised his head and stared at the people above him, and an ascendant was rising. I have to know that this Yichun doesn't have any cultivation, but he can possess such killing intentions. But I can imagine how strong the hatred in his heart is. Chapter 36:66. Hey, the second is here. Qing Zhong, the person you want is me. It has nothing to do with the people in this town. You let them go, and I will handle it with you. Yichun Shen said, Masters, this matter has nothing to do with me. My lords, please raise your hand up and let me Qingshan town. Lords, let your life go. Many residents in Kikingshan town have already begged for mercy, and most of them have kneeled on the ground, asking these people to spare their lives. Only Jian Wushuang, Jian Nantian, and Ji Wuming still stood there. The three of them just watched silently and didn't speak. And when he heard Yi Chen-'s words, the old blue-haired old man in the void was smirking. I am here to kill you by the order of Lord God. And the command of Lord God is to wipe out anyone who has a relationship with you. You have lived in this town for 10 years, and the people in this town certainly have a relationship with you. Since it matters, all of them must die. Go ahead. When the old man with blue hair ordered, the people behind him immediately left. It's time to kill. There are more than 300 people in this town, all killed, none left. Well, it hasn't been murdered for a long time, but unfortunately, all the ants will be killed this time. A cold smile sounded, and hundreds of figures dived down instantly. No, Yi Chun was anxious, his eyes were red. It doesn't matter if he dies himself, but he definitely doesn't want to affect him in a big way, and treats him like a son of Jian Nantian and Ji Wuming and everyone in the town. It's a pity that he was in a hurry, but seeing that many true gods shot above, he had no way to stop him. Suddenly, okay, a slight word dropped, but the nearly 100 practitioners who had originally swooped down were instantly frozen in the void. The old man with blue hair, including the old one, was all in the void. Although each consciousness was still awake, they found in horror that their deities could not move at all, and even their fingers could not be moved again. What does this means? The old man with blue hair was terrified, and the nearly 100 practitioners around him were terrified one by one. Sudden changes in shock suddenly shocked everyone. In Qingshan town, more than 300 residents thought that the end was coming when they saw the people above, but the next scene happened beyond everyone's expectations, watching the assassin look like a sculpture. The inhabitants of those practitioners who were settled in the void also had cyanosis in their heads. What happened? What's wrong with this? I just seemed to hear a fixed word, and then these people were settled. Is there any shocking man who can't do anything? The military and civilians talked, and at the same time, a hint of hope was burning in their hearts. What's wrong? Yichun also looked faint. Only the three men next to him, Jian Wushuang, Jian Nantian, and Ji Wuming, remained indifferent. Is this stasis of time and space? Just a thought can stagnate space and time and make nearly 100 true gods unable to move in the slightest. Schwanger, your current means are really more and more incredible. Qi Jian Nantian spoke for the first time, and there was a hint of surprise in his words. He is now the top powerhouse in the Qinghua world, and can even be said to be one of the top powerhouses in the entire chaotic world of eternity. His vision is also quite high in the entire world of chaotic world, but the sword is unparalleled. The methods he uses now make him feel a little incredible. Some small means. Jian Wushuang just smiled slightly. He said, "This is actually humble. It is not a small means to designate astrology, but it is one of the divine magic created by the divine master of time and space. But this divine magic is applied to these true God-level cultivations, and it does not show at all out of its real power. Father, mother, the little guy you adopted, called Yi Chen, has a pretty good heart." Jian Wushuang smiled. "Of course, if you have a bad heart, I and your father will not save him 10 years ago, let alone keep him with him. Unfortunately, this child was born poor. His physique is too unique. Your father thought there are countless ways to change his physique and enable him to cultivate." Ji Wuming said, "His physique is very special." Jian Wushuang nodded, but then Feng turned abruptly. "But there is no way to resolve his physique." "Oh." Jian Nantian and Ji Wuming both looked at Jian Wushuang immediately. The conversation between the three of them was not covered at all, but was clearly heard by everyone around them. For a moment, everyone understood that the means by which the nearly 100 practitioners were frozen in the void at the same time was that these three people were on display. "Uncle, ma'am, you—" Yi Chen looked at Jian Nantian and Ji Wuming in shock. "Yi Chen, your matter, I'll talk about it later. Let's first get rid of these people who are in the way." Jianan Tiandao, Qi Jian Wushuang also nodded and immediately looked up at the nearly 100 true gods in the void. The practitioners, who were frozen in the void, were extremely panicked at this moment, and the young man with the head of hair was equally frightened and asked, Who are you? Who are we?" Ji Wuming's expression became cold. "Did you just say that you would kill all the people related to Yi Chen in this town? Tell you that 10 years ago, it was my couple. The two people saved this Yi Chen in the past 10 years. This little guy has always been with us. It is our adoptive son. In this town, the couple and my couple are related to him. The closest thing is you want to kill, and logically you should kill my couple first." This. The blue-haired old man agitated his throat and immediately smiled. "3 adults. This may be a bit misunderstood. I'm also waiting for the order of my adult. My adult is the purple of Bai Heiyang. Emperor. His master is the famous Moshui Emperor in the chaotic world of ancient times. I also hope that the 3 adults will bypass my waiting for the sake of my god. Purple Heaven Emperor, Emperor Moshui. Oh, a big name." Jian Nantian disdain. He had heard of the demon emperor, but he was just an ordinary emperor, and he wasn't even considered by him, let alone the Emperor Zetian. The two people who don't even care about him. It's nothing more for Jian Wushuang. Purple Heaven Emperor, Emperor Moshui, isn't it? Jian Wushuang smiled indifferently, but then he grabbed his hands against the surrounding void. Walala! The void was broken directly, and then 2 ridiculous figures rolled out of the broken void. Today as birthday, ask for a wave of blessings. Chapter 36:67. The first is more. Looking at the 2 figures rolling out from the broken void, the blue-haired old man was completely wiped out. Those 2 figures, one of whom he did not know, but the other he was very clear and familiar, that is his patron, which is the Emperor Zetian, who he just mentioned. And the person he did not know, the breath emanating from his body was stronger than the Purple Heaven God Emperor. At this moment, the old man with green hair guessed that the 8 achievements of that man were the master of the Purple Heaven God Emperor and the great Emperor of the Water. He also mentioned separately that the 2 people who were intentionally moved out appeared in front of him in a blink of an eye, and the 2 were obviously caught here by life. Where is this? Master, are you here? What is going on? Emperor Ziqian and Emperor Mo Sui, tumbling out of the broken void, are at a loss. They didn't know what was happening. They just knew that they were good. Suddenly, a big shot was taken, and they caught them. Then they both appeared here, and the place where they are now is obviously different from where they were before. The gathering was extremely distant, breaking through the void directly, and catching them here from an extremely distant place is enough to make the Emperor Ziqian and Emperor Mo Sui tremble. My dignified emperor, without any resistance, was caught here. This is incredible. Even if he is recognized as the strongest man in the chaotic world of all ages, he can never do this. Who is it? Who? The magic water emperor's eyes immediately looked around, and soon he saw Jian Wushuang on the ground below, as far as Jian Nantian was concerned. When seeing Jian Nantian, the eyes of Emperor Mo Sui suddenly shrank. Jian Nantian, as one of the leaders of the Qinghua world, is also a top emperor. Of course, the Mo Sui emperor knows it. To Jian Nantian, the emperor of Mo Sui has a trace of awe in his heart, but it is just awe, but not too fearful, and he knows more or less the strength of Jian Nantian. Much better than him, but compared with Baidi, it may be slightly weaker, and naturally it is impossible to catch here in an instant. And then he saw the existence of Jian Wushuang. When seeing the sword unparalleled, the brow of this magic water emperor immediately frowned. He felt Jian Wushuang's appearance a little familiar for the first time, but he couldn't remember when he had seen each other. Although Jian Wushuang didn't have any breath, it looked like an ordinary person at first glance, but that was it. The ordinary feeling made the Emperor of the Waters dignified. My name is Jian Wushuang. You may have heard of it. Jian Wushuang said flatly, Sword warriors? The Mo Sui Emperor looked disappointed. Sword warriors? Millions of years ago, the leader of the chaotic world of ancient times was enough to sit on an equal footing with Baidi, and even surpassed Baidis Wushuang's sword to a certain extent. Emperor, the savior of the chaotic world of all ages, the creator of the unparalleled holy city in Qinghua, the unparalleled lord of the city, Wushuang Sword Emperor, savior, Wushuang City Lord. Jian Wushuang smiled. When did I have so many titles? Hearing Jian Wushuang's admission, the Emperor Mo Sui couldn't help but take a breath. Anyway, he is also an emperor-level powerhouse. As one of the top powerhouses in the chaos world of Vanguard, he certainly knows something about thousands of years ago. And the chaos world in Vanguard was in a state of despair for a while. In the dilemma, there is a genius named Jian Wushuang who turned the tide and helped the chaotic world of eternity survive the crisis. And this sword unparalleled, also known as the savior of the chaotic world of eternity by the later practitioners, now millions of years later, the name of the sword unparalleled has long become a legend and myth, but the many cultivations left over 10 million years ago, the author still keeps in mind this superexistence. Therefore, when Brother Mo Sui learned that the person in front of him turned out to be the legendary sword unparalleled, the shock in his heart could not be described in words. In addition to shock, the Mo Sui Emperor came immediately and was frightened. He understood that since the man in front of him was the legendary Wushuang City Lord, it must have been he who had just caught himself here. And such a superexistent, if there was nothing, how could he be forced to force him for no reason? Caught here? Magic Water and His Majesty's disciples, Ziqian, met the Lord of Wushuang City. I do know what Lord City Lord asked you to come to me. What do you tell me? Whenever my teachers and apprentices can serve, my teachers and apprentices will never quit. The great Emperor, Water, looks very respectful. The Emperor Ziqian, next to the Emperor Mo Sui, was even afraid to come out. He had heard the name of Jian Wushuang. although he didn't know much about it, but the horror power just revealed from Jian Wushuang and his respectful expression of his master at the moment. He understood that the person in front of him was not theirs. What can be provoked? Evil Lord Mo Hui, I don't have any grudges with you and your disciple, but just now, this person said that he had served your disciple, the Emperor Ziqian, to kill all the people in this town death, including my parents, after I came forward to block him. He also moved the two of you out and threatened me. You said, what should I do? Jian Wushuang's voice was flat. Although Jian Wushuang did not show any anger and killing intentions, his words were heard in the ears of the Emperor Mo Hui and the Emperor Tian, but it was like a thunderstorm on a sunny day. To kill the parents of Wushuang City Lord, Emperor Mo Hui only felt his head dizzy. These stupid idiots. The Emperor Ziqian growled and looked at the eyes of the blue-haired old man and others full of shocking intentions. He wanted the green-haired old man and others to chase and kill Yi Chen, and also ordered them to kill everyone who has a relationship with Yi Chen, but he didn't let these people go to provoke Jian Wushuang. Want to kill Jian Wushuang's parents. This is simply a big joke. In fact, the blue-haired old man and others were also very innocent. They did just follow the instructions of the Emperor Ziqian, but they did not expect that there were a few hidden Buddhas in this town. They also want to cry without tears. At this time, the demon emperor once again said, Master, Lord, you can rest assured that I will definitely give you a satisfactory explanation. Really? Then I wait. Jian Wushuang smiled. The magic water emperor's eyes were cold, but the next moment he shot like lightning. Naturally, he did not dare to shoot its sword unparalleled, including the residents in this town. He also did not dare to shoot, and at this moment he was shot against, and it was almost 100 old gods, such as the green-haired old man. Chapter 36-68. Second More. The dignified emperor is the top existence in the chaotic world of ancient times. To deal with a group of real life, it is like an elephant crushing a bunch of ants. Within a short period of time, nearly 100 true gods were beheaded and killed. None of them escaped. But after beheading those real lives, the Mo Hui emperor did not intend to stop, but instead looked at the Emperor Ziqian. Master, what are you going to do? Upon seeing the eyes of the Emperor Mo Hui, the Emperor Tian's complexion suddenly changed. Ziqian, the teacher has always been good to you, but this time your offended the Wushuang City Lord. In order to eliminate the anger of the Wushuang City Lord, you can only go with them. The Emperor of the Waters said lightly. Hearing this, the Emperor Tian was astonished. He didn't expect that after his master had killed his men in order to eliminate the anger of Jian Wushuang, he even planned to kill him together. Master, the Emperor Ziqian just wanted to speak. Let's die. The Emperor Moss has already shot without hesitation. For Mo Hui Emperor, his life is more important than anything. As for the Emperor Ziqian, although he is a disciple in front of his own life, he can even abandon his own son, let alone a disciple. However, just as the Emperor Mo Hui was about to kill the Purple Emperor. Enough, Jian Wushuang said. Hearing Jian Wushuang's words, Emperor Mo Hui immediately stopped his movements and showed respect. This little guy has a deep sea of hatred against the Emperor Ziqian. The death of this Emperor Ziqian will let this little guy take it later. Jian Wushuang pointed to Yi Chen next to him, calmly. Yes. Lord Mo Hui nodded respectfully. The Emperor Ziqian exhaled heavily, and he glanced at Yi Chen with a slight glance at first, but soon relaxed again. He and Yi Chen indeed have deep blood and deep feuds. Yi Chen's former family is also a first-class family in the Qinghua realm. This family was uprooted by him and slaughtered the whole family. Yi Chen definitely wanted to kill him. However, What Jian Wushuang said was that he would kill Yi Chen himself, and then he would not be afraid. After all, he also knows something about Yi Chen. He was a man who was born to be mediocre and was destined to be mediocre all his life. If it weren't for Yi Chen's possession of something left by the Yi family, he wouldn't bother to hunt it down. Waste. He is not afraid of such a congenital waste, even if there is a sword to support him now. Master of Wushuang City, I wonder if I can leave now. Emperor Mo Sui watched Jian Wushuang carefully. Get out. Jian Wushuang waved his hand. When the great Emperor Mo Sui was approaching amnesty, he immediately turned around and left quickly, and the Purple Emperor also left at the same time. Shuanger, are you really sure to change this little guy's physique so that he can practice? Jiannan Tianchao, Jian Wushuang looked over. Of course. Jian Wushuang smiled, and his eyes finally looked at Yi Chen next to him. Yi Chen at this moment is still stunned. He hasn't returned from the shock just now. Not just him, but all the residents of this town. The scene that just happened was completely beyond their imagination. For a moment, nearly 100 true gods could not move, reach out at will, and the top powerhouses, such as the Emperor Zetian Emperor and the Emperor Mo Sui, hundreds of millions of miles away, were arrested directly. That's a superpower at the level of God, an emperor. Although the residents of this town don't have much world, they also know that the emperor and the emperor are already at the top of this world. But this kind of existence, in front of the sword without double-sided, but like a newborn baby, there is no ability to resist at all. The emperor even decisively killed nearly 100 true gods in order to wipe out his anger, and even nearly killed his disciples. This scene is too incredible for people in the town, just like dreaming. Looking at Yi Chen in the middle of sluggishness, Jian Wushuang's mouth also showed a playful smile and shouted, "Hi, wake up, little guy." Yi Chen finally returned to God. He looked at Jian Wushuang in horror and asked subconsciously, "Who are you?" "I said that my name is Jian Wushuang. It is your uncle and aunt who have been remembering their son, and the unfilial son you just said." Jian Wushuang said. Yi Chen was shocked. He just did an injustice for Jian Nantian and Ji Wuming saying that Jian Wushuang was an unfilial son. But now, knowing Jian Wushuang's superb strength and means, he suddenly became cold. This is a super powerful, who respects even the power of the emperor level. And he was scolded by him. If the other person's temper is a little bit short, he may kill him with an idea. "Okay, son, stop teasing this little guy." It was Ji Wuming who spoke and resolved the embarrassment on the field. "Yi Chen, you don't have to be afraid. The strength of the two children is strong, but their temper is still good. They have a broad-minded mind, and they will not know anything like you." Ji Wuming laughed. Yi Chen was relieved, but he still did not dare to look up at the sword, unparalleled. "Uncle, ma'am, your identity shouldn't be that simple, right?" Yi Chen warily. Jian Nantian smiled at Ji Wuming. And then Jian Nantian smiled and said, "Stupid boy, no matter what the identity of my couple, we are still your uncle and aunt. This will not change. You and my couple, the two, have lived together for 10 years, but our couple will treat you as their biological son. Otherwise, I will not be so troubled to find a way to change your physique." Hearing this, Yi Chen only smiled arrogantly but followed his look. "Uncle, you just mentioned my constitution many times. Is my constitution really special?" Yi Chen's expression was also tense. He knew that he had some special constitutions, which was why he could not really cultivate. But he always thought that as long as he worked hard, there was a chance to change. But now, "Your physique is really special," Jian Nantian told the person he had looked for before and briefly explained the method and said, "Let us say that I have already come close to all methods. It can be said that in Wangu, within the limits of the chaotic world, it is impossible to change your physique. Even I used to believe that in your life you were only destined to become an ordinary person, but now that Schwanger is back, everything is different. You guys, if you want to change your physique and become a true cultivator, then you have to ask for good pairs. Jian Nantian smiled. Chapter 36, 69. The first is more. None, Brother Wu Shuang. Yichen could not help looking at Xiang Jianwushuang. Brother? Jian Wushuang touched his nose. This Yichen was adopted by Jian Nantian and Ji Wuming, and both of them have been treated like sons and daughters in the past 10 years. It is understandable that Yichen called his elder brother. Just shout at you, I will help you with your constitution. Jian Wushuang smiled slightly. Come on, let me take a closer look. Yichen honestly walked to Jian Wushuang, and Jian Wushuang extended his right hand and touched Yichen's forehead lightly. Don't resist. Instantly, a peculiar divine power burst out from Jian Wu's hands and merged into Yichen's body, and then everything in Yichen's entire body was exposed in front of Jian Wushuang. Sure enough, it was born in a perfect vein. Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrows and a little surprised at the corner of his mouth. Born by nature? What is that? Jian Nantian looked over. Born by nature, it is a restriction imposed by Tiandao Will on him. This restriction will prevent this little guy from becoming a practitioner in his whole life, but this constitution has advantages and disadvantages. Jian Wushuangdo. It's good to make one person unable to practice for a lifetime. Jian Nantian frowned. Of course, because this constitution may seem terrible, but in fact, a person who can possess this constitution is definitely an incredible super genius. His talent can even make Tiandao jealous, so Tiandao will forcibly give him a heavy weight. Restrictions. But if this person is lucky and can meet the top powerhouse to lift this heavy restriction for him, then his talent will be better demonstrated. Since then, the carp has jumped into the dragon gate and skyrocketed. Jian Wushuangdo. Is that so? Jian Nantian was startled. Born by nature, this kind of constitution is very rare, let alone in this ancient chaotic world. Even in the world where I have been in these years, few people can have this kind of constitution. I am lucky, but I have encountered two-bit. Jian Wushuang smiled. The reason why he was able to determine that Yichen was born in an instant is because he had been in contact with a practitioner who was born in a perfect vein. His friend, Xinhua Lord, is a born in the pulse owner, and when he and Xinhua Lord went to the demon realm, he encountered another natural-born owner, Zhao Mang, on the way. In the end, Zhao Mang was accepted as a disciple by Xinhua Demon Lord, and Zhao Mang's innate pulse was released by Xinhua Demon Lord. After lifting the natural vein, Zhao Mang showed his horrific cultivation talent, and even Jian Shuang was extremely amazed. Born by nature, such a strange physique, did not expect that even one in the ancient chaotic world appeared. Jian Wushuang couldn't help sighing. Shuanger, you just said that only the top powerhouse in your world can lift this heavy restriction. Can you do it now? Jian Nantian asked. Rest assured, if I had to lift the heavy restrictions on this little guy before, it would still take some hands and feet, and even collect some rare geniuses, but now, it's very simple. With a smile on his face, Jian Wushuang smiled, and a faint golden divine power rushed directly towards Yichen. This golden divine power also carries an extremely special power. This power is the willpower given by the laws of the universe. The willpower given by the laws of the universe more or less carried the breath of some laws of the universe. After entering Yichen's body, the heavy restrictions in Yichen's body were lifted almost instantly. Once the restriction was lifted, Yichen felt only his body shape. After a shock, he could sense the existence of the vast spiritual ocean around him very clearly. This is spiritual power? Yi Chen was shocked in his eyes. But Jian Wushuang's mouth turned up again. Little guy, let me help you again. As soon as the voice fell, the trace of willpower that had entered Yi Chen's body turned into action instantly. The rumbling of the sky and the earth, a horrible devouring force suddenly burst out from Yi Chen. Suddenly, the surrounding void, the endless spiritual power, immediately gathered at Yi Chen at an incredible speed. But Yi Chen seemed like a huge spring eye. All the spiritual power came towards him and was subsequently taken by him, relentlessly devoured and absorbed. And with the crazy devouring of these spiritual powers, his breath began to skyrocket at an alarming rate. This Yi Chen was originally just an ordinary person, but just a moment of effort, this Yi Chen has already climbed to the top of the celestial master. Immediately, click, thunderclouds rolled. The sky above them was dark, clouds were thick, and thunderstorms were already brewing. Jesus, Jian Nantian, and Ji Wuming looked up staggeringly. Whenever a cultivator born in the eternal realm breaks through and becomes the realm god, he will inevitably cross the realm. Jian Wushuang had also crossed it at first, but now Yi Chen's strength has suddenly skyrocketed, even from an ordinary person to the point where he has to cross the world. And this is obviously only the beginning. Boom, click. Thunder calamity did not last long before it came directly, and Yi Chen below is still devouring the surrounding spiritual force frantically, turning a blind eye to that thunder rob. Seeing this, Jian Nantian and Ji Wuming frowned. Schwanger, this world of gods is nothing to us, but as soon as this little guy has the qualifications to practice, he can directly cross the world of gods. Can this be done? Jian Nantian asked. Father, you are too underestimated this little guy, to be precise, to underestimate his physique and potential, although I just slightly stimulated his physical potential. But no accident is enough for him instantly reached the top of the true God, and even the level of the general monarch. As for the gods in this world, for him, it is only a slight transition. How can it threaten him? Jian Wushuang laughed. You said that he could reach the top of the real life right away, or even the level of gods. Jian Nantian's eyes widened. Yes. Jian Wushuang nodded, his heart secretly buoying. Cultivators with special physiques are indeed far beyond what ordinary practitioners can compare to, especially those who are born with the absolute veins like Yi Chen and Zhao Mang. They are born with natural evils and monsters. These natural evil spirits cultivate. It is as simple as eating and drinking. At the beginning, in the demon domain, the Shenhua Lord helped Zhao Mang to lift the restriction. In just 10 years, Zhao Mang leapt from an ordinary person to the level of an undead saint. What a shocking thing. Now, this Yi Chen has also inspired some potentials, but unfortunately it is in the chaotic world of eternity, a small astral world. The restrictions are too great, so he can only reach God at best level. If it was in the early world of God, this Yi Chen could ascend far more than that. End of this chapter. Chapter 3670, 3673 sword. Second more. As Jian Wushuang said, Yi Chen's ascension this time is not at all. For Yi Chen, the gods in this world can't pose any threat at all. When the first heavy realm came, Yi Chen's cultivation has almost reached the top of the triple realm god. When the triple heaven realm god came, Yi Chenxiu had already surpassed the average true god. Therefore, this heavy realm of gods came directly to Yi Chen, not enough to tickle Yi Chen and strengthen God. Just stop. Soon, the world's disaster was completely over. Yi Chen's cultivation has also reached the top level of true God, but he continues promotion. After another moment of effort, Yi Chen's breath soared again, and his cultivation went one step further, reaching the level of monarch. Times. It was just an ordinary person, just now. He did NT even master the spiritual power, Tao. At the beginning, Jian Wushuang practiced from the beginning and stepped into the step by step, but it took a lot of hard work with the years, let alone countless life and death experience. But a cultivator like Yi Chun, who is favored by heaven, is not the same. As long as the restrictions are lifted, he immediately flew into the sky. It's no wonder that Jian Wushuang couldn't help sighing and couldn't help but have a hint of jealousy in his heart. Finally, the swallowing power on Yi Chun slowly weakened, and the growth of his breath slowly subsided. The end of Yi Chen's cultivation is at the level of normal monarch. Call. With a spit out of stale air, Yi Chen opened his eyes and felt the majestic power that he now had, and his face appeared. Unprecedented surprise. Little guy, come here. Jian Wushuang beckoned. Yi Chen immediately stepped forward. How do you feel? Jian Wushuang asked. Very good, never before. Yi Chen looked around his body and asked, Wushuangda brother, I wonder what level I have reached now. Yi Chen was not a practitioner before, and he knew only a little about the realm of the practitioner, although he now has strong control strength, but he didn't know exactly where he was now. You are now a monarch. Of course, if it is in the world I have been in these years, it is chaos. Practitioners. Sword unparalleled. Is God king? Yi Chen could not help holding his hands. He knew what the was, and his destroyed Yi family had the gods before, and his enemies were purple gods. The emperor is nothing but the emperor. Above the emperor is the emperor. Unexpectedly, this was just a moment of effort. The gap between him and his enemy, Ziqian God Emperor, had been so close. Little guy, I see you carrying a sword behind you. It seems that you are also good at swordsmanship. Jian Wushuang asked suddenly. Yes, I am good at swordsmanship. Yi Chen said. Shuanger, although this little guy could not become a real practitioner because of his constitution, but he worked harder than anyone else. In this decade, not only has she experienced brute force, but also in swordplay, some achievements, his kendo talent is very good, much better than many kendo geniuses I have seen. Even me, I dare not say that he is stronger in kendo talent. Jianan Tiandao. Father, you dare not say that kendo is better than him? Jian Wushuang was really surprised. He knew, however, that his father was an extremely rare sword spirit. That was the body of the reincarnation of the top Excalibur spirit in the astonishing battle of the destruction of Qixing Xuanzong. The sword spirit can step into the samsara on its own. This divine sword must be a very high-level cosmic treasure, and such a sword spirit, the body, is extremely high in kendo talent. At least, it's better than many rulers who are good at kendo-s rules in the early days. Just because Jian Nantian stayed at Wan in the ancient chaotic world, his achievements would be limited if he could not contact the outside world. Otherwise. But Jiandao talent is the incredible Jinanshan, saying that his kendo talent may not be comparable to this Yi Chen. Jian Wushuang immediately became interested. You guys, take my face now and practice swordsmanship. Jian Wushuangdo. Okay. Yi Chen nodded. Without any hesitation, he started practicing swordsmanship on this school ground. In this exercise, Jian Wushuang's eyes brightened. Before he met me, he was an ordinary person, but his understanding of swordsmanship was so high. Father, it is difficult. Do you teach the Tao? Jian Wushuang looked to Jian Nantian. If I had only taught him that he had reached this step, then I would not be so surprised by his kendo talent. The point is that he hasn't been instructed by anyone. He is purely exploring, and he has grown to this day in the kendo step by step. Yes, 10 years ago, when I rescued him, he started to really touch the sword. Jianan Tiandao. No one has taught him, and he has only explored it by himself. In just 10 years, his understanding of swordsmanship is so high. Jian Wushuang secretly nodded. Yes, his kendo talent is really great, but to say that his kendo talent is better than his father Yu if it is stronger, then it may not be. Jian Wushuang smiled, and then waved his hand. It's okay, come on. Yichen came over again. Brother Wushuang, how is my swordplay? Yichen asked expectantly. Oh, you are also called swordsmanship? It's a joke. Jian Wushuang taunted him politely, but it was backward, taking a step back. Little guy, you're optimistic. Jian Wushuang did not pull out the sword. He put out a finger, and then slowly made a stroke towards the void in front. There is no movement, no power, not even sword intention, sword shadow, any material. On this school ground, many residents in the town are still there, and they have been paying attention to it, and they have also seen sword unparalleled waved this finger. However, in the eyes of these residents, Jian Wushuang is clearly a finger swipe without any magic, including the person who is the strongest in this town, thinks the same. Even Ji Wuming was a little stunned, not knowing what Jian Wushuang was doing. Only Jian Nantian, because he is the body of the sword spirit, the moment he saw Jian Wushuang waving his finger, his eyes suddenly flashed, an unprecedented flash of brilliance. He saw the incredible, discussed the mystery. As for Yi Chun, at this moment he was already stunned. It wasn't until that stroke was completely dropped that Jian Wushuang had retracted his palm that he finally recovered. But after returning to God, he looked blank.